Chapter 839. Done. In the distance, Gu Yuan roared with laughter when he saw Ning Yu's body on the verge of collapse. Ning Yu, this day next year will be the anniversary of your death. Gu Yuan was momentarily overwhelmed by joy. He charged forward in the blink of an eye, intending to deal a fatal blow to Ning Yu. However, Gu Yuan had clearly forgotten that he was currently unable to bring out his peak fighting strength. He only possessed around 20% of his original fighting strength. Red Devil, I'll leave it to you. Ning Yu closed his eyes and muttered to himself as he looked at Gu Yuan, who was rushing over. Ah, you still dare to put on an act even when death is at hand. I will now let you know what is called cruelty. Ning Yu's actions once again caused the corners of Gu Yuan's mouth to rise into an arc, as if victory was already in his grasp. Ugh! However, Gu Yuan suddenly stopped before he could reach Ning Yu's side. Gu Yuan turned around and looked at the red figure that had unknowingly appeared behind him. He opened his mouth as if he wanted to say something, but instead spat out a large mouthful of dark red blood. Whoosh! Red Devil slowly withdrew the Red Devil sword from Gu Yuan's back and indifferently said, "Sometimes, those who do not know their own limits will die earlier. All of you deserve to die." Gu Yuan coldly said as he retreated, "I do not know if we deserve to die, but I am very clear that this day next year is destined to be the anniversary of your death." As his voice faded, Red Devil's figure gradually turned illusory. In the blink of an eye, Red Devil appeared in front of Gu Yuan. His right hand gripped the Red Devil's sword and directly pierced Gu Yuan's heart. Puff! Gu Yuan was not in peak condition to begin with. His eyes rolled back when the Red Devil's sword pierced his heart, and he died on the spot before he could even say anything. What? Gu Yuan's sudden death caused Ho Lei's and Su Shun's expressions to change drastically. Su Shun and Ho Lei were both shocked, extremely shocked. One must know that Ning Yu had not even made a move. How could a weak red-clothed cultivator so easily kill Gu Yuan? What should we do? Su Shun asked in a low voice. What else can we do? Right now, Ning Yu is not in peak condition. We'll take one each, Ho Lei said solemnly. All right, I'll deal with Ning Yu. You deal with the man in red. Su Shun gritted his teeth and was the first to charge out. His target was Ning Yu. As for Ho Lei, he charged towards the red fiend. Whoosh! Whoosh! However, just as Ho Lei and Su Shun took a few steps forward, two figures sprang out from Ning Yu's body. These two figures, one white and one black, were extremely fast. Dark Emperor, Furball. The two figures that emerged from Ning Yu's body were the Dark Sovereign and Furball. After refining the energy from the heaven-devouring hound skeleton, and Ning Yu had raised his hand at the critical moment, the Dark Emperor and Furball were both at the middle stage of the Blessed Realm. A heaven-swallowing hound at the intermediate stage of the creation realm, and a purple gold heaven-swallowing hound at that. One could imagine how terrifying its combat power was. At their peak, Su Shun and Ho Lei could contend with the Dark Sovereign and Furball. They only had 50% of their strength left. Bang! Bang! Two crisp sounds rang out consecutively. Soon after, two figures fell to the ground like kites with their strings cut. Dog! Su Shun and Ho Lei stood up with great difficulty. Yin Mo stared at the Dark Sovereign and Furball in the air and exclaimed, "Humph! You're the dog. You should call me Emperor." The Dark Sovereign coldly snorted and tore through space, appearing in front of Su Shun like a bolt of lightning. Crack! The Dark Sovereign's movements were very fast, so fast that Su Shun's neck was snapped before he could react. Not good. Seeing Su Shun's neck snapped, Ho Lei hurriedly chose to flee. However, even Su Shun could not react to the Dark Sovereign's attack, much less Ho Lei. This was because Furball was slightly stronger than the Dark Sovereign. Puff! Furball's attack was very sharp, directly turning into a toxic dragon drill and piercing through Ho Lei's body. Ning Yu, just you wait to taste the wrath of the nine-furnace divine pavilion. Before he died, Ho Lei used all his strength to shout, "Everyone from the 8th and 7th branches of the nine-furnace divine pavilion, hurry up and leave. Issue the nine-furnace killing order. We swear to hunt down Ning Yu." Boom! In fact, there was no need for Ho Lei to say anything. Under the towering tree, the remaining geniuses of the 7th and 8th branches of the 9-furnace divine pavilion scattered in all directions. Dark Sovereign, Furball, Red Devil, you know what to do. Ningyu did not chase after them, but lightly said, "Swish, swish, swish." The Dark Sovereign and the others knew that they could not let the people of the 9-furnace divine pavilion escape at this time. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. 3 figures chased after the fleeing geniuses of the 9-furnace divine pavilion. After the Dark Sovereign and the others left, Ningyu took out the flower bud. Swish! Just as Ningyu took out the flower bud, it turned into a shadow and drilled into his body. Kacha! Not long after devouring Gu Yuan, the flower bud left and drilled into Ho Lei's body. After a while, the flower bud flew out and drilled into Su Shun's body. After a few more minutes, the flower bud slowly flew out. For petals. Seeing the changes in the flower bud, Ningyu frowned and muttered. At first, the flower bud had 8 petals. After devouring 2 peak manifestation realm corpse puppets, it became 6 petals. Now, after devouring 3 half-step supreme being geniuses of the 9-furnace divine pavilion, the 6 petals became 4. It was getting harder and harder. At this rate, if he wanted to turn the 4 petals into 1, he would have to devour at least several supreme beings. Forget it. Even if the flower bud wants to devour earth or sky supreme beings, I will help it find them. Ningyu shook his head and controlled the flower bud to enter his chest. The flower bud had helped him greatly when the teleportation array exploded. Ningyu wasn't someone who didn't know how to repay kindness. Since the flower bud needed energy and devoured martial artists, Ningyu would definitely find them for it. Of course, the martial artists that Ningyu found were all heinous people, or rather, people who were bent on killing him. Ningyu is a good citizen. He wouldn't do such heinous things. TSK. In the past, when it devoured energy, it would give me back a little. Now it's all gone to you. Ningyu released his perception slightly and started to circulate the spirit transformation technique to absorb the Yuan Qi in the air. Ever since the flower bud's petals turned from 8 to 6, Ningyu realized that the holy Qi that the flower bud absorbed from the void was completely consumed by itself. It couldn't even produce Shengyang pills. Shengyang pills were good stuff. Without them, it would be a huge loss to Ningyu. At the very least, it was impossible for Ningyu to recover to his peak state in a short period of time. Sha. Just as Ningyu was slowly recovering, the Dark Emperor and Furball flew over from afar. At this moment, the Dark Emperor's face was glowing with excitement. Ningyu, those small shrimps weren't even enough to fill the gaps between my teeth. I killed them in a few moves. Chapter 840. Trouble in the Capital. Chapter 840. Battle Pow. Ningyu slapped the Dark Emperor's head and pretended to be angry. Stop pretending. You're only a middle manifestation realm cultivator, and your overall strength is only comparable to a peak manifestation realm cultivator. If you encounter a half-step honorable realm cultivator, you'll only end up with a grudge. Don't make fun of me. The Dark Emperor revealed a displeased expression. Although I'm only a middle manifestation realm cultivator, I still have some energy left in my body. As long as I refine all the energy in my body, I won't have to fear a half-step honorable realm cultivator. I can't believe it. Ningyu couldn't help cursing and rewarded the Dark Emperor with a chestnut. You still have energy in your body, so why do you need my help? Ningyu regretted not helping the Dark Emperor and Harry Ball if he knew this would happen. In the end, the Dark Emperor and Harry Ball advanced to the middle manifestation realm, while he was still in a weakened state. Woof woof. Harry Ball barked at Ningyu, as if saying that it wasn't what he thought. Forget it. I have 2 choices now. Ningyu waved his hand, signaling Harry Ball to calm down. First, continue to the Corpse Dragon Mountain range. Second, return to the capital. Harry Ball tilted its head, thinking about something. As for the Dark Emperor, he shouted, "Let's go to the Corpse Dragon Mountain range. I'm going to turn the headquarters of the Corpse sect upside down." The Dark Emperor was definitely thinking of going to the Corpse Dragon Mountain range. Although he had devoured and refined the skeleton of the heaven-devouring dog, he still wanted to make a trip to the Corpse Dragon mountain range. He had to find out who killed the skeleton of the heaven-devouring dog. He had to take revenge no matter what. Woof woof. Seeing the Dark Emperor's indignant expression, Harry Ball barked, as if agreeing with the Dark Emperor's words. Dark Emperor, it's not that I don't want to go to the Corpse Dragon mountain range. Ningyu briefly pondered, then said, there's something that you have to think about. The Corpse Dragon Venerable is guarding the Corpse Dragon mountain range, and the Stone Dragon Venerable's cultivation is a second-grade sovereign. If you boast that you can kill a grade 2 human sovereign, I have no objections and will follow you to the Corpse Dragon mountain range. If you can't deal with a grade 2 sovereign, then I'm sorry, but you'll have to return to the capital first. Come back when you're stronger. The Dark Emperor fell into deep thought. Actually, the Dark Emperor really wanted to go to the Corpse Dragon mountain range. However, what Ningyu said was right. The Corpse Dragon mountain range was filled with second-grade sovereigns. Without absolute strength, going there would only be courting death. Rather than courting death now, it was better to endure for a period of time. It wouldn't be too late to go after he became stronger. Taking a deep breath, the Dark Emperor said, I've decided to return to the capital first. All right, there's no time to lose. Let's clean up the scene first before returning to the capital. Ningyu nodded and began to clean up the scene. Ningyu wasn't a hothead. Only by destroying the corpses could he prevent anyone from the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion from discovering him. Right now, Ningyu's strength was still too weak to contend against the entire Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion. Swish, 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 swish. After everything was settled, Ningyu and the Dark Emperor's figures flashed and disappeared in the blink of an eye. On the third day after Ningyu left Duga Forest, Great Xia Kingdom, capital Danwu College. I wonder when Ningyu will return. Old ancestor Zhou Mo paced back and forth in the assembly hall and said anxiously, Lu Wei's mother can only last for 3 days at most. If she doesn't take the revival good fortune pill after 3 days, she'll be in danger. Take 2 steps less. At the head of the hall, Mu Feng asked in a deep voice, How is Lu Xuan doing? Are there any emotional fluctuations? There aren't any emotional fluctuations. In the past few days, Lu Wei has been accompanying her mother. Below the assembly hall, Black Widow and the Black and White heroes sat on either side. Black Widow said, Dan Xingzi has already decided that as long as Ningyu doesn't dare to return tomorrow, he will personally refine the pill. AI, Dan Xingzi, is also an alchemy genius of his generation. If it weren't for Dan Xingzi would have already become a grade 8 alchemist. Mu Feng sighed and slowly said, When the time comes, I will preside over the revival good fortune pill with Dan Xingzi. Dean Mu, although Ningyu's martial strength is very strong, his soul force isn't particularly heaven-defying. Even if he returns, it will be very difficult to refine the revival good fortune pill. The Black and White heroes said in unison. Ha! The two of you don't need to worry about this. I'm still very confident in Ningyu. Mu Feng waved his hand and smiled. Is that so? Mu Feng's faint laughter had yet to end when an ethereal voice sounded in the assembly hall. Swoosh! The sudden voice caused everyone in the hall, including Mu Feng, to stand up in an instant and unleash their perception. Oh! Mu Feng's expression was cold as he said in a deep voice. Kacha! Kacha! What responded to Mu Feng was the sound of space being torn apart. After the space was torn apart, 2 young martial artists slowly walked out from the crack. Mu Tian. Looking at the familiar figure in front of him, Mu Feng exclaimed, Haha, you didn't expect it, right? I, Mu Tian, have returned. The corner of Mu Tian's mouth curled up and he smiled sinisterly. You just said that you are very confident in Ningyu. I don't know if you still have confidence in Ningyu after seeing my strength. As the word heart fell, Mu Tian rose from the ground and appeared in front of Mu Feng in the blink of an eye. Bang! Mu Tian's fist blasted out, bringing along bursts of yuan-chi wind. Without any deviation, it landed on Mu Feng's chest. A huge force came from his chest, causing Mu Feng's body to retreat several feet. Pucci! Dark red blood spurted out. Mu Feng's face was filled with shock. How could Mu Tian's strength be so powerful? At this moment, not only Mu Feng had this thought, but the Black Widow, old ancestor Jiuemo, and the others also had the same thought. Mu Feng was in the middle stage of the manifestation realm, but he actually couldn't withstand a single move from Mu Tian. One could imagine just how powerful Mu Tian's overall combat power was. Mu Tian, I didn't come with you this time to see you show off. Hurry up and call Ningyu out. I want to see how powerful this martial artist who defeated you again and again and even nearly destroyed your confidence is. Next to Mu Tian, a young martial artist in a purple robe said lightly. Kacha. Hearing the purple-clothed man's words, Mu Tian could not help but clench his fists tightly. Mu Tian hated it when people mentioned his defeat. If it wasn't for the purple-clothed martial artist's strength, he would have already made a move. When he returned from the Great Xia Kingdom to the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, Mu Tian chose to go into closed-door cultivation and entered the most brutal training grounds of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple to cultivate. Fortunately, Mu Tian quickly made a breakthrough and advanced to the half-step manifestation realm. The moment the half-step manifestation realm Mu Tian came out of the training grounds, he couldn't wait to head to the Great Xia Kingdom for revenge. Who would have thought that he would meet the fifth-ranked absolute genius of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, Ling Ju? Chapter 841. I'll make it for you. Old fart. Hurry up and tell Ningyu to come out, or I'll let you die a horrible death. Taking a deep breath, Mu Tian resisted the urge to flare up and said in a solemn voice, I don't want to start a massacre. I'll give you 10 minutes. If I don't see Ningyu in 10 minutes, then there's no need for you guys to exist in this world. Mu Tian, Ningyu isn't in the Great Xia Kingdom. At this time, Mu Feng had to shoulder the burden. A few days ago, Ningyu left the Great Xia Kingdom. No one knows where he went. Oh, you're still protecting Ningyu when you're about to die. Mu Tian gloomily said, Looks like you won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. Fine, I'll start with you, you old fart. Whoosh. Mu Tian was truly furious. During the time Mu Tian was cultivating in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple's training field, he was constantly thinking about killing Ningyu. It was with this belief that Mu Tian was able to persevere until he came out of the training field. Otherwise, Mu Tian would have died in the extremely dangerous training field. Attack together. Mu Feng bellowed when he saw Mu Tian making a move. Voila! Old ancestor Jiuemo and the others understood the seriousness of the matter, so they immediately flashed out and cooperated with Mu Feng to fight Mu Tian. Patriarch Jiuemo was at the early stage of the manifestation realm, while Black Widow was at the mid-stage of the manifestation realm. The black and white heroes were also at the mid-stage of the manifestation realm. Logically speaking, with such a lineup, even if they encountered a martial artist in the later stage of the manifestation realm, they would be able to fight head-on. However, the martial artist they were fighting was none other than the Grand Nine Purities Palace's peerless genius, Mu Tian, who had endured hardships to gain courage. Mu Tian was originally ranked 10th among all the geniuses of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. However, after advancing to the half-step to manifestation realm, Mu Tian's overall ranking also increased along with his strength. Right now, Mu Tian was ranked 6th in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, just below Ling Ju. Courting death, Mu Tian vented all his anger towards Ningyu on Mu Feng and the others. Bang, 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 bang. He punched out 4 times in a row, and in an instant, fist lights appeared in the air and attacked old ancestor Jiuemo and the others. A crisp sound rang out. Ancestor Jiuemo and the other 3 weren't even able to withstand a single attack. Old fart, you dare to talk back to me? I'll let you have a taste of pain right now. After casually defeating old ancestor Jiuemo and the others, Mu Tian let out a cold harumph and instantly arrived beside Mu Feng. Pa 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 pa. Mu Tian's left and right hands moved at the same time, repeatedly slapping Mu Feng's cheeks. After a while, Mu Tian stopped. On the other hand, Mu Feng's head was swollen like a pig's. I'll ask you one last time. Where is Ningyu? Mu Tian asked in a deep voice. I'll still say the same thing. Ningyu left the capital a few days ago. As for where he is now, I don't know either. Mu Feng gritted his teeth. Good, very good. You don't want to say it, right? Even if you don't want to say it, I have a way. Suddenly, Mu Tian regained his composure and said, Just now, I heard you talking about the rebirth pill and Lu Wei. If I'm not wrong, Lu Wei must be Ningyu's woman. As long as I capture Lu Wei, Ningyu won't hesitate to act. Ha ha ha. After saying that, Mu Tian turned to Ling Ju and said, Brother Ling, please help me set up an array formation to trap these trash inside. No problem. In the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, Ling Ju was not only strong in martial arts, but his attainments in array formations were also extremely heaven-defying. Hearing Mu Tian's plea, Ling Ju waved his hands repeatedly. Suddenly, 4 cold lights flew out from his sleeves. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. The cold lights were none other than 4 flags. After the flags were planted around the hall, Ling Ju took out 4 royal-grade origin crystals and used them to suppress the flags. Rise, as Ling Ju shouted, for pillars of light rose from the flags and enveloped Mu Feng and the others. Looking at his masterpiece, Ling Ju clapped his hands and said, Done. Let's go and find Lu Wei. Mu Tian did not want to stay here any longer. In a flash, his figure flashed and disappeared. Ling Ju followed closely behind. He tore open the void and entered. In the forbidden area of Danwu College, there were a total of 4 people in his secret room. They were Lu Wei, Lu Wei's father, Lu Derong, Lu Wei's mother, and Dan Xingzi. At this moment, Lu Wei and Lu Derong were standing respectfully to one side. As for Dan Xingzi, he was sitting cross-legged on the bed. Opposite him was Lu Wei's mother. Dan Xingzi placed his hands on Lu Wei's mother's back and continuously injected his primal qi into Lu Wei's mother's body. Phew! After about 3 minutes, Dan Xingzi slowly exhaled a mouthful of turbid qi. 3 days. Your wife can only hold on for 3 days. Dan Xingzi got off the bed and said to Lu Derong, Within 3 days, there must be a life-giving pill. Otherwise, even if God Daluo comes, there's no hope of saving her. Sai, although I've been recovering well, the strength of my soul power is still at the peak of grade 7. Then, Dan Xingzi sighed and said, If my soul force had reached the 8th grade, then I would have a 30% chance of refining the pill of good fortune if I work together with Mu Feng. Now, I only have a 10% chance. Senior Dan, when do you plan to start refining the life-giving pill? Lu Wei asked hurriedly. Tomorrow. As long as Ningyu doesn't return tomorrow, I will. Dan Xingzi took a deep breath and said, in my opinion, don't expect to refine the life-giving pill tomorrow. Dan Xingzi was halfway through his sentence when a faint laughter came from outside the room. Crack! Then, the wooden door was smashed into pieces. 2 young martial artists walked in side by side. The 2 young martial artists were none other than Mu Tian and Ling Ju. Wow, there's so many people here. After entering the room, Mu Tian's lips curled up and his eyes fell on Lu Wei. If I'm not mistaken, you should be the woman Ningyu likes, Lu Wei, the great beauty Lu, right? Lu Wei turned her head away and said nothing. Don't worry, I'm very protective of the fair sex. I won't kill you. Mu Tian shrugged and continued. On the contrary, I'll even help you refine the life-giving pill for you. Swoosh! As he spoke, Mu Tian's figure burst out and swept past Dan Xingzi like a bolt of lightning. Medicinal herbs. Dan Xingzi's expression changed drastically as he touched the storage bag in his pocket. Don't make a fuss. I said I'll help you refine the life-giving pill, so I won't go back on my word. Mu Tian waved his hand and sat down with his legs crossed. He took out a round cauldron. At the same time, Mu Tian dragged the cauldron with his left hand and grabbed the medicinal herbs with his right hand, throwing them into the cauldron one by one. Mu Tian even displayed his 6th grade soul force and pretended to refine the life-giving pill. What are you doing? Seeing how Mu Tian was wasting the medicinal herbs, Lu Wei screamed and charged at Mu Tian. Bang! Lu Wei had just taken a few steps when Ling Ju raised his right hand and made intimate contact with her stomach. Chapter 842. Chapter 842 arrive in time. Ha ha ha. I love it when everyone related to Ningyu dies. Seeing Lu Wei hit the wall and spit out blood, Mu Tian stood up and laughed maniacally. Not only that, I'm going to destroy the herbs used to refine the elixir of rebirth. As he spoke, Mu Tian exerted strength in his wrist and threw the cauldron down. Crack! With a crisp sound, the cauldron shattered and the elixirs inside scattered all over the floor. Ningyu, if you still don't show up, I'll have to kill Lu Wei to force you out. Mu Tian's eyes turned cold. In the next moment, Mu Tian gave Ling Ju a look. His meaning was self-evident. Mu Tian, I'm just here to meet the so-called #1 prodigy of the great Xia kingdom. You wanted to kill her? Are you kidding me? Ling Ju stood still and frowned. Mu Tian was used to ordering people around in the supreme Nine Purities temple, so he did not change his words. Smiling awkwardly, Mu Tian dashed toward Lu Xuan in a flash. Bang! Seeing Mu Tian dashing toward Lu Wei, Lu Durong immediately stood in front of Lu Wei. Without a doubt, Mu Tian's punch that was supposed to land on Lu Wei's chest had landed on Lu Durong's chest instead. The huge force on Lu Durong's chest caused his face to contort, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Old fart, since you're courting death, I'll send you on your way. Mu Tian was angry that his fatal punch was blocked by Lu Durong. Extremely angry. Mu Tian was extremely terrifying when he was angry. Now, that Mu Tian's cultivation was at the half-step to manifestation realm. He could kill Lu Durong 10 times, or even 100 times. Mu Tian's lips curled into a cold smile, and his figure gradually turned illusory. Swoosh! However, before Mu Tian's figure disappeared completely, a cold ray of light came from outside the room. The sudden change did not catch Mu Tian's attention. Mu Tian knew very well that Ling Ju would help him solve this problem. Ling Ju did not disappoint Mu Tian. He waved his sleeves, and a cold light collided with the cold light coming from outside the room. Chi-chi. The two beams of cold light collided with each other, only emitting a chi-chi sound before vanishing into thin air. Xiao! Xiao! However, just as Ling Ju was about to disperse the cold light, another 2 rays of cold light came from outside the room. Humph! You're courting death. This change made Ling Ju lose face. He coldly snorted and rushed out of the room. Bang! However, before Ling Ju could rush out of the room, he was pushed back several feet by a giant palm print that came from the void. Who? You are so sneaky and don't dare to show your face. Ling Ju swallowed the blood in his throat and said in a deep voice, If you have the ability, then show yourself. As you wish. An indifferent voice resounded in the room. Then, a group of 6 martial artists appeared in the room. 2 humans and 4 beasts. Ling Ju was taken aback by the sudden appearance of the figure before him. Ningyu. On the other side, Mu Tian stopped in his tracks and stared at Ningyu with an ecstatic expression on his face. I've been waiting for you for a long time. You're finally willing to come out. Ningyu did not respond to Mu Tian directly. Instead, his eyes slowly moved around the room. When he saw the medicinal herbs scattered on the floor and Lu Wei and the others who were severely injured in the corner, Ningyu's face completely darkened. After taking a deep breath, Ningyu said in a deep voice, Mu Tian, I gave you a chance to live, but you didn't cherish it. Now, you dare to come to Dongwu College and cause trouble. If that's the case, then there's no need for you to exist in this world. Ha ha! Mu Tian seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world. He threw his head back and laughed maniacally. Then his eyes turned cold as he said, Are you sure you're talking to me? I'm no longer the Mu Tian from a few days ago. After the training in the training field, my cultivation base has advanced to... Stop. I don't care if you're Mu Tian or not. Either way, you're not going to have a good ending since you've caused trouble here. Ningyu waved his hand and interrupted Mu Tian. I've even killed a half-step honorable realm cultivator, let alone a half-step manifestation realm cultivator like you. Dark Emperor, here. The Dark Emperor stood on his hind legs and responded, "Hold this cultivator off for me. I'll deal with him myself in 3 minutes." After giving the order, Ningyu rushed out in an instant. Violent yuan qi appeared on his fist, and he fiercely punched Mu Tian's head. Ningyu's punch was powerful. If Mu Tian was unlucky enough to be hit, he would be crippled even if he did not die. He's so strong. Mu Tian initially felt disdain when he heard Ningyu's arrogant words. Trying to kill him in 3 minutes? What a fool's dream. However, feeling the violent primordial qi on Ningyu's fist, Mu Tian was finally moved. He hurriedly gathered the primordial qi in his sea of consciousness on his wrist and threw a backhand punch, which collided with Ningyu's fist. Bang! When the two fists collided, a crisp sound was heard. Swoosh! Swoosh! Immediately, the two figures retreated rapidly. Ningyu was retreating to where Lu Wei and Lu Durong were, while Mu Tian was retreating to where Ling Ju was. As expected of the top prodigy of the great Xia Kingdom, he's so powerful. Through the exchange between Ningyu and Mu Tian, Ling Ju could tell that Ningyu was very powerful. There were very few cultivators who could go against Mu Tian head-on. Moreover, Ningyu is a cultivator who was born and raised in the great Xia Kingdom. Ling Ju could not help but look at him in a different light. What top prodigy of the great Xia Kingdom? He's nothing in front of me. Ling Ju compared him to Ningyu. Mu Tian was furious. He shouted, "After today, there will be no more Ningyu in the great Xia Kingdom. Silver Winged Dragon, Twin Horn Beast, stay here and watch over Lu Wei. We'll be right back." Ningyu instructed and said to Mu Tian, "We can't fight here. Why don't we fight outside?" "All right, let's fight outside," Ling Ju said loudly. Hearing Ling Ju's words, Mu Tian felt like he had been F***ed. His original intention was to fight here. After all, Lu Wei and the woman who was lying on the bed were here. If he fought with Ningyu here, Ningyu would definitely not be able to bring out his full strength. If they fought outside, it would be disadvantageous for them. "Don't just stand there. Get out now." Ling Ju slapped on Mu Tian's shoulder and rushed out of the room. Mu Tian had no choice but to glare at Ningyu fiercely. He then followed Ling Ju and disappeared into the distance. "Ningyu, don't worry. After I kill you, I will take good care of Lu Wei for you." Ningyu did not intend to let Mu Tian go. Now that Mu Tian said something like this, it infuriated Ningyu even more. "Dark Emperor, Furball, you just need to stop the other cultivator. I want to kill Mu Tian myself." Chapter 843. Two duels. Jean, is Ningyu really that powerful? Lu Durong asked hesitantly as he watched Ningyu leave. Lu Durong was shocked. Mu Tian's strength was incredible, but Ningyu did not take him seriously. It seemed that Ningyu is no weaker than Mu Tian. "Ningyu is powerful, but I don't know if he is Mu Tian's match." Lu Wei gritted her teeth. "Forget it. Now that things have come to this, we can only wait." Lu Durong muttered, "Don't worry. Ningyu is a freak. He is half a step away from becoming a supreme. Forget it. There is no point in telling you all this. Anyway, don't worry." The silver-winged dragon explained when it saw Lu Wei and the rest were worried. "Hee, if even Ningyu can't kill Mu Tian, then I'm afraid no one in the entire capital is Mu Tian's match." The twin horn beast was not worried at all as it chuckled. "All right, we believe in Ningyu." Lu Wei and the rest were relieved after hearing the silver-winged dragon and the twin horn beast's words. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. At the same time, on the empty ground outside the room, Ningyu, Ling Ju, Mu Tian, the Red Devil, the Dark Emperor, and Furball were divided into two groups. Ling Ju and Mu Tian were in one group, while Ningyu and the rest were in the other. "Ningyu, I didn't expect you to advance to the half-step manifestation realm," Mu Tian said in a low voice as he sensed the powerful aura coming from Ningyu. "Shut up." Ningyu would not waste time talking to Mu Tian. Mu Tian had gone too far. Not only did he destroy the medicinal ingredients needed to make the vitality pill, he even injured Lu Wei. If Mu Tian had only destroyed the herbs, Ningyu might have let him live. However, Mu Tian injured Lu Wei and wanted to kill Lu Wei. Ning Yu would never forgive him for this. Therefore, after Ning Yu's deep voice faded, his body dashed forward and headed straight for Mu Tian. Ling Ju, don't interfere. I can handle Ning Yu by myself. Looking at the approaching Ning Yu, Mu Tian waved his hand, indicating that Ning Yu did not need to do anything. He was very confident that he could blast Ning Yu into smithereens. I don't care. Ling Ju didn't plan to make a move in the first place, but after hearing Mu Tian's words, he flew to the other side and watched the duel between Ning Yu and Mu Tian. Although Ling Ju did not make a move, the Dark Emperor and Fur Ball did not let down their guard. They released their senses and focused all of their attention on Ling Ju. If Ling Ju dared to make a move, they would immediately stop him. Ning Yu, I want to see what you're capable of. Mu Tian appeared in front of Ning Yu in an instant. His right hand emitted a terrifying wave of primordial qi as he punched at Ning Yu's heart. In order to kill Ning Yu in one move, Mu Tian took out a silver-white flying sword and stabbed at Ning Yu's heart. In Mu Tian's opinion, even if Ning Yu could block his fist, he would not be able to block his flying sword. No matter what, one of the two attacks would be effective. Solitaire. However, Mu Tian had obviously underestimated Ning Yu's strength. Before his fist could reach Ning Yu wielded the red demon sword and slashed out with a sword wave. Swoosh! In midair, a huge sword ripple separated from the red demon sword and collided with Mu Tian's fist, unable to avoid it. As soon as the sword wave came into contact, Ning Yu's sword wave dissipated into thin air. Ha ha ha! I thought you were powerful. It turns out that you're just an embroidered pillow. Next, I'll show you the power of a king-ranked mid-grade flying sword. Mu Tian was slightly stunned when he easily dispersed the sword wave from Ning Yu's sword wave. Then he laughed maniacally. To be able to die under a king-ranked mid-grade flying sword, it's a worthy death. After that, Mu Tian held the silver-white flying sword in his hand. He charged straight at Ning Yu. Is that so? Seeing Mu Tian's confident look, Ning Yu raised his eyebrows and waved the red demon sword in his hand. Boom! In the next moment, numerous sword waves swept out and enveloped Mu Tian from all directions. As expected of the number one prodigy of the great Xia Kingdom, his strength is enough to compete with Mu Tian. Ling Ju murmured as he looked at the two of them fighting. Then he changed the topic and said, however, once Mu Tian uses his trump card, Ning Yu will definitely die on the spot. This battle is not what. However, before Ling Ju could finish his sentence, his mouth was slightly agape as he looked at the battlefield in disbelief. Crack! In midair, Ning Yu wielded the red demon sword and slashed at Mu Tian's silver-white flying sword. A crisp cracking sound resounded in the area. Everything seemed to have stopped. Mu Tian looked down at the king-ranked mid-grade flying sword that was left in his hand. He felt like he had been F***ed. Gulp. Mu Tian forcefully swallowed his saliva and said in shock, a flying sword that can break a king-ranked mid-grade flying sword must be at least a king-ranked flying sword. Swoosh! In the distance, Ling Ju's expression changed drastically when he heard Mu Tian's words. A king-ranked flying sword? That was a treasure. Even in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, there were very few martial artists who owned a king-ranked flying sword. There might be many king-ranked flying swords in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, but there were only one or two king-ranked flying swords. However, those two king-ranked flying swords were in the hands of the higher-ups. It was impossible for martial artists like them to get their hands on them. If I can get my hands on a king-ranked flying sword, my combat strength will at least double. Ling Ju's face was burning with passion. He charged out without hesitation. Mu Tian, I'll lend you a hand. Ling Ju's speed was very fast. In the blink of an eye, he was several feet away. Oof, your opponent is us. Don't disturb Ning Yu. The Dark Emperor harumphed coldly when he saw Ling Ju's attack. He instantly stood in front of Ling Ju. A few useless dogs dare to stop me. Ling Ju said coldly, since you're courting death, I'll send you to heaven first. After that, I'll deal with Ning Yu. How dare you call me a dog? You'll pay for that. The Dark Emperor hated being called a dog the most. This was especially so after he advanced to the middle stage of the manifestation realm. This taboo became even more intense. One had to admit that Ling Ju was really bold for daring to commit such a crime. Furball, Redskin, you guys stay here and watch. Let me deal with this so-called genius. As the Dark Emperor rushed out, he turned his head and said to Furball and Hong Mo, "What you need to pay attention to is whether Ning Yu defeated Mu Tian. I can deal with this arrogant cultivator alone. Stupid dog, if you dare to stop me, I'll send you to heaven first." Ling Ju said coldly. "Ha, there are many people who want to kill me. You're just a half step to the manifestation realm. You're not qualified." The Dark Emperor opened his mouth and instantly spat out an energy ball. Swoosh! The energy ball tore through the void and arrived next to Ling Ju in a flash. A stupid dog is so powerful. Ling Ju was secretly shocked when he sensed the power of the energy ball. He could not help but reevaluate Ningyu. Chapter 844. Easy kill, Mu Tian, be careful. Oh no, no matter what, Ling Ju and Mu Tian were fellow disciples of the same sect. Ningyu was powerful. Ling Ju had to warn Mu Tian. However, before Ling Ju could finish his sentence, he stopped abruptly. The Dark Emperor had already torn through the void and appeared in front of him. A terrifying aura erupted from the Dark Emperor, indicating that his cultivation had reached the middle stage of the manifestation realm. Ling Ju was very surprised to see a dog in the middle stage of the manifestation realm. One must know that even as a peerless genius of the supreme Nine Purities Temple, Ling Ju's cultivation was only at the half-step manifestation realm. How could Ling Ju not be shocked that a dog was in the middle stage of the manifestation realm? In Ling Ju's opinion, the Dark Emperor was still no match for him. Damn dog, if you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish first. Ling Ju turned around to look at the battle between Ning Yu and Mu Tian. He slightly relaxed and turned to fight the Dark Emperor. Mu Tian and Ning Yu were evenly matched for the time being. Neither could do anything to the other. Under this premise, Ling Ju could naturally devote himself to the battle with the Dark Emperor. Roar! The Dark Emperor roared at the sky and raised his front paw, aiming for Ling Ju's heart. After all, Ling Ju was a peerless genius of the supreme Nine Purities Temple. If he was so easily caught by the Dark Emperor, where would his face go? Ling Ju's body slightly moved to the side and easily dodged the Dark Emperor's attack. At the same time, Ling Ju waved his sleeve and took out a silver-white flying sword. King Middle Grade Flying Sword. White Sword. The flying sword in Ling Ju's hand was called White Sword, King Middle Grade Flying Sword. I might be a little afraid if you also have a King Middle Grade Flying Sword, but you're just a dog without a flying sword. What makes you think you can fight me? Ling Ju stabbed out with the White Sword, intending to kill the Dark Emperor. Oomph. You want to defeat me with a mere King Middle Grade Flying Sword? You should take a piss and look at yourself in the mirror. The Dark Emperor had seen King Middle Grade Flying Swords before. How could he be afraid of a King Middle Grade Flying Sword? You're about to die, yet you still dare to be stubborn. The ignorant are truly fearless. Ling Ju desperately poured his Yuan Qi into Bai Wujian, causing it to tremble slightly. Buzz! After the trembling sound, Ling Ju's Bai Wu sword flew out of his hand and attacked the Dark Emperor. Dark Emperor, I'll help you. At this critical moment, Hong Mo let out a low shout and instantly rushed out. The Red Fiend knew the Dark Emperor's strength. Although his cultivation level was at the mid-stage of the creation realm, his overall strength could only match a warrior at the peak of the creation realm. Ling Ju's combat power was top-notch even among martial artists at the peak of the manifestation realm. In fact, Ling Ju might even stand a chance against a half-venerable realm cultivator. The Dark Emperor would definitely be at a disadvantage against Ling Ju, and there was a high chance that he would be killed. Ha ha ha, Redskin, it's been a long time since we fought side by side. Today, let's have a good fight. Seeing the Hong Mo helping him, the Dark Emperor burst into laughter. Woof woof. Not long after the Hong Mo made his move, Furball barked a few times and joined the battle. If the Dark Emperor was very happy that the Red Fiend had joined the battlefield, then the Dark Emperor's expression changed slightly when Furball joined the battlefield. He even berated, "Furball, you have to help Ningyu." Woof. Furball howled indignantly at the Dark Emperor before turning to look at Ningyu. Seeing this, the Dark Emperor also looked at Ningyu. It would have been fine if he did not look, but the moment he did, the Dark Emperor cursed. F***CK. The Dark Emperor even had the urge to curse. In the battle between Ningyu and Mu Tian, he had the absolute advantage. It could be said that it was an adult beating a child. The Dark Emperor's face darkened. "Damn it, your combat power is so strong. And you want us to watch Lingju?" The most annoying thing was that Ningyu could have easily killed Mu Tian, but he had been suppressing Mu Tian and did not use his full strength. It's not good to be distracted now. Seeing that the Dark Emperor was distracted, Lingju smirked and said sinisterly, "Most of the time, being distracted is the biggest cause of death." "I'm distracted?" "Distracted my ass." The Dark Emperor did not get distracted. Although he looked at Ningyu, he was constantly paying attention to Lingju. When Lingju came to his side, he suddenly enlarged and a pair of purplish gold wings appeared on his back. "What?" "Purplish gold sky, devouring hound." At this moment, Lingju was extremely shocked. It's not good to be distracted now. The Dark Emperor smiled and repeated what the Hong Mo had said earlier. Moreover, the Dark Emperor did not just say it. He also put it into action. In an instant, the Dark Emperor came to Lingju's side and grabbed him with his front paw. At the same time, Furball and the Hong Mo appeared on the other side of Lingju and each launched a powerful attack at Lingju's head. Very good, very good. At the critical moment, Lingju waved his hands and 3 streaks of cold light shot out from his sleeves. Swish, swish, swish. The 3 streaks of cold light were extremely fast. Before the attacks of the Dark Emperor and Furball could land on Lingju, 3 cold beams of light struck the bodies of the Dark Emperor and the others. Bang, bang, bang. This proved that the power of the cold light was extremely powerful. Even though the Dark Emperor and Furball were strong, they could not withstand the powerful attack of the cold light. Poochie, poochie, poochie. 3 consecutive sounds of blood being spat out could be heard in the area. The aura of the Dark Emperor, Furball, and the Hong Mo dropped from their peak to the bottom. Oomph. I'm the genius of the Supreme 9 Purities Temple. If I'm defeated so easily, how am I supposed to show my face in the Supreme 9 Purities Temple in the future? Lingju raised his brows and said coldly, "I didn't want to kill, but today I have no choice but to do so. All of this is because of you. Is that so?" Before Lingju could finish his words, a calm voice rang in his ears. When he heard the familiar voice, Lingju was slightly taken aback and turned around. This glance caused Lingju to reveal a terrified expression. In midair, Ningyu stood with his hands behind his back, his face devoid of joy or sorrow. Lingju's gaze fell on the area below Ningyu. Mu Tian was lying flat on the ground below Ningyu. His eyes were wide open, and there was a hint of fear on his face. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. After a brief moment of shock, Lingju roared like a madman. No matter how weak Mu Tian is, he's still a half-step to manifestation stage practitioner. Moreover, he had the trump card given to him by the Grand Supreme Elder. How could you kill him so easily? Nothing is impossible. Ningyu leaped and slowly landed on the ground. Although Mu Tian is a half-step to manifestation stage practitioner, he won't be able to gain any advantage against me. Chapter 845. Unkillable what? How could the ancient scroll be in your hands? Looking at the ancient blue scroll in Ningyu's hand, Lingju was shocked. After all, the blue ancient scroll was given to him by Mu Tian's father to save his life. Mu Tian was a peerless genius from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple. No matter how weak he was, he shouldn't have been killed by Ningyu before he could even use the ancient scroll, right? If it was true, then how powerful was Ningyu? A series of questions popped up in Ling Ju's mind. Nothing is impossible. Ning Yu kept the ancient scroll and said, Mu Tian has been going against me time and time again. He tried to kill me and even tried to kill Lu Wei. It's reasonable for me to get rid of him. You're different. There's no enmity between us. If you can take out the ingredients needed to refine the revival good fortune pill, I can let you live. Are you sure you're not joking? Ling Ju stared at Ning Yu and said, The pill of good fortune is an 8th grade medicinal pill, and it's the best among all 8th grade medicinal pills. If I were in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, I might be able to get the medicinal ingredients in a short time. But now, what do you expect me to find them? I don't care about that. In short, hand over the medicinal ingredients and I'll spare your life. Otherwise, no one will be able to stop you. As he spoke, Ning Yu's face turned completely gloomy. Humph, you're only half a step into the manifestation realm. You want to kill me? It won't be that easy. Ling Ju snorted. You could try. Ning Yu's eyes turned cold. The moment he said try, his body rose from the ground and rushed out like a bolt of lightning. I'm not afraid to tell you that I don't actually have a good relationship with Mu Tian. Initially, I didn't intend to avenge him. Since you're so stubborn, I can only do justice on behalf of the heavens. Looking at the approaching Ning Yu, Ling Ju took a deep breath and swung the white sword in his hand. Walala! In an instant, several sword gleams suddenly appeared in midair. Countless sword waves blasted towards Ning Yu. Insignificant skill. Ning Yu swung the red demon's sword in his hand as he flew. Hua! Several sword ripples separated from the red demon's sword and collided with Ling Ju's sword gleams. Chi-chi! When the sword light and the sword wave collided, there was naturally a sizzling sound. After the sound, Ning Yu and Ling Ju came into close combat. He is indeed the #1 prodigy of the great Xia kingdom. His strength isn't considered weak. If Ling Ju didn't know why Mu Tian would kill him earlier, then after exchanging blows with Ning Yu, he finally understood. It was definitely not a coincidence that Ning Yu could kill Mu Tian. In terms of martial arts strength alone, Ning Yu could be ranked in the top 5 of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Moreover, this was just a conservative estimate. If Ning Yu had any powerful trump cards, he could even be ranked ahead of him. Their strength is on a completely different level. When Ning Yu killed Mu Tian, it didn't take much effort. It could be said that he killed Mu Tian effortlessly. However, after exchanging one blow with Ling Ju, Ning Yu determined that even 10 Mu Tians might not be Ling Ju's match. Ning Yu, I'm coming to help you. In the distance, the red demon saw that Ning Yu didn't have the upper hand. He immediately let out a low shout and entered the red demon's sword. One with the sword. At this moment, the red demon had completely fused with the red demon's sword. A royal grade flying sword that has developed a spiritual body. Ling Ju's eyes were very sharp. He clearly saw the red demon turning into a shadow and entering the red demon's sword. The fact that the red demon's sword was a royal grade flying sword was enough to shock Ling Ju. Now that he discovered that the red demon's sword had developed a spiritual body, how could he not be excited? After a brief moment of excitement, Ling Ju was slightly dazed. He was thinking about how to get his hands on the red demon's sword. Bang! Without a doubt, Ling Ju paid the price for his daze. Ning Yu threw a punch and landed squarely on Ling Ju's chest. Fortunately, Ling Ju dodged Ning Yu's next fatal blow. Otherwise, even if he didn't die, he would have been seriously injured. Hiss! Ling Ju sucked in a breath of cold air as he dodged the fatal strike. Slash! He threw the white sword in his hand and pointed it at Ning Yu's heart. Ling Ju's sudden action puzzled Ning Yu. Logically speaking, Ling Ju should not have thrown out his king grade medium grade flying sword when he knew he had a royal grade flying sword. This was because there was an 80% chance that a king grade medium grade flying sword would be mercilessly cut in half against a royal grade flying sword. Crack! The result was not out of Ning Yu's expectations. The red demon's sword slashed at the white sword, cutting it in half. Buzz! As soon as the white sword was cut in half, Ling Ju disappeared from the area. Trying to sneak attack me? Ningyu used his powerful perception and instantly found Ling Ju's location. However, Ningyu did not make a sound. Instead, he turned to the Dark Emperor and said, "Did you guys find Ling Ju?" "How did I?" "It's good that you didn't find me. Even an honorable realm martial artist can forget about finding me, let alone a half-step manifestation realm piece of trash like you." Before Ningyu finished speaking, Ling Ju appeared behind him. With a sinister smile, Ling Ju's fist carried an extremely terrifying fluctuation of yuan qi and ruthlessly punched toward Ningyu's head. In order to kill Ningyu, Ling Ju used 100% of his strength in this punch. The corner of Ling Ju's mouth rose. It was as if he could see Ningyu being killed. Chapter 846. Half-Beast. Half-Beast. Ningyu could not help but take a few steps back when he saw Ling Ju's appearance. Ling Ju's eyes were bloodshot, and his hair stood on end. Even a pair of blood-red wings grew out of his back. Half-Beast God-Slaying Bird. Half of Ling Ju's appearance was that of the God-Slaying Bird, and the other half was his own. "I didn't expect you to be a half-beast." Ningyu stared at Ling Ju and said in a deep voice, "I've been hiding in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple for many years, and have gradually forgotten that I'm a half-beast. If you hadn't forced me to reveal my true form, I'm afraid I would have continued living as a human." Ling Ju took a deep breath as if he was reminiscing about the past. After a while, Ling Ju said coldly, "Since you've discovered my true form, I'm sorry to say that you're destined to die today." Swoosh! Ling Ju's wings flapped rapidly, and it only took him 0.01 seconds to arrive in front of Ningyu. Then, Ling Ju used his extremely sharp claws to grab at Ningyu's neck. Slash! After a brief moment of shock, Ningyu quickly slashed the red devil sword at Ling Ju's claws. Screech! Ling Ju let out a cry, turned around, and charged at the Dark Emperor. After transforming into his true form, Ling Ju's senses and speed had become much stronger. Before Ningyu could react, Ling Ju and the Dark Emperor were already engaged in battle. Boom! The Dark Emperor naturally transformed into his true form, the purple gold sky devouring hound, to fight against Ling Ju. Although Furball did not transform into his true form, he cooperated with the Dark Emperor to attack Ling Ju. Purple gold sky devouring hound. If I devour you, I might be able to reach the early stage of the manifestation realm. Ling Ju's eyes were filled with passion. As a half-beast, Ling Ju had also mastered the art of devouring. The ancient god-slaying bird was an existence that was not inferior to the sky-devouring hound. However, after tens of thousands of years of evolution, the power of the half-beast god-slaying bird's bloodline had become extremely thin. "A mixed bird wants to devour me." The Dark Emperor was enraged. The god-slaying bird of the primordial era might be comparable to the purple gold heaven devouring dog, but the Dark Emperor was fearless against the half-beast god-slaying bird. In midair, the Dark Emperor and Ling Ju were fighting. As the Dark Emperor's bloodline was relatively pure, and with Furball's help from the side, the outcome of the battle was actually not decided. "The Dark Emperor won't be able to hold on for long. I have to think of a way." Ningyu frowned as he thought of a countermeasure. Although the Dark Emperor and Ling Ju seemed to be evenly matched on the surface, Ningyu knew that the Dark Emperor could only last for 3 more minutes. After 3 minutes, the Dark Emperor would definitely be killed. Ningyu, the god-slaying bird, has a fatal weakness. Just as Ningyu was pondering, the Red Fiend's voice sounded in his ears. "As long as you can cut off the wings on his back, his strength will drop by at least half." Hearing this, Ningyu raised his eyebrows and revealed a happy expression. After pondering for a moment, Ningyu rushed out and joined the battlefield. "Ha ha! Mixed hairy bird, your good days are over." Seeing that Ningyu had joined the battlefield, the Dark Emperor laughed. "Oomph, do you think that's all I can do?" Although Ningyu had joined the battle, Ling Ju did not take it to heart at all. The next moment, Ling Ju snorted coldly, and the blood-red wings on his back flapped rapidly. In an instant, he tore through the void and disappeared. Not good. Seeing that Ling Ju had disappeared, Ning Yu's expression changed drastically. "Don't worry, let me blast him out." The Dark Emperor waved his hand, indicating for Ning Yu to calm down. "Calm down my ass." Ning Yu glared at the Dark Emperor fiercely, then tore through the void and flew toward the room where Lu Wei was. Actually, the moment Ling Ju disappeared, Ning Yu knew what he wanted to do. Lu Wei. Ling Ju was well aware that he was no match for Ning Yu and the others of the moment. If the battle continued like this, the one who would be killed was destined to be him. Therefore, Ling Ju thought of another way. He would capture Lu Wei and force Ning Yu to let him go. Ling Ju thought of this and did it. In the room where Lu Wei was, the silver Quetzalcoatlus and the twin-horned beast sensed something unusual and immediately rushed out. Seeing the silver Quetzalcoatlus and the twin-horned beast, Ning Yu hurriedly shouted, "Silver Quetzalcoatlus, twin-horned beast, attack the space in front of you with all your might." Although the silver Quetzalcoatlus and the twin-horned beast did not know why Ning Yu wanted them to attack, they still used all their strength to attack the space in front of them. Rumble! An earth-shattering sound rang out. Then, a figure rapidly flew out from the void. "Ling Ju, if you fight me head-on, you might have a chance to escape. But since you want to launch a sneak attack, I'm sorry, but this day next year will be the day you die." Looking at Ling Ju flying out from the void, Ning Yu slashed the red demon sword in his hand. In an instant, countless sword waves appeared and slashed toward Ling Ju's back. Ning Yu's goal was clear, and that was to chop off Ling Ju's wings. Block it. Ling Ju also guessed Ning Yu's intention. He quickly flapped his wings and shot out several rays of cold light to block the sword waves in midair. Chi-chi. At first, Ling Ju was able to block several sword waves from Ning Yu. But as time passed, Ling Ju's yuan chi gradually weakened. Crack! 3 minutes later, Ning Yu took advantage of Ling Ju's carelessness and slashed down an even more powerful sword wave. Solitaire. A waist-thick sword wave appeared on Ling Ju's back and slashed at Ling Ju's blood-red wings. A crisp sound rang out. A pair of blood-red wings fell from Ling Ju's back. Mixed hairy bird, let's see how you can jump without wings. As soon as Ning Yu chopped off Ling Ju's wings, the Dark Emperor charged out with a roar. The Dark Emperor loved to beat up dogs when they were down. No, it should be the mixed hairy bird. Just as the red demon sword said, Ling Ju's combat strength was halved after losing his wings. How could Ling Ju be a match for the Dark Emperor with his strength halved? The outcome was obvious. Before Furball could do anything, the Dark Emperor killed Ling Ju. Moreover, the Dark Emperor also devoured Ling Ju's thin bloodline power, which he happily devoured. Although the bloodline is thin, it's better than nothing. The Dark Emperor licked his lips and said, "Ning Yu, if I devour a few more martial artists like the mixed hairy bird, I can even reach the mid-stage of manifestation." The Dark Emperor was now at the early stage of manifestation and was only a step away from the mid-stage of manifestation. Moreover, there was still energy in the Dark Emperor's body that had not been refined. As long as he completely refined the energy, he could even reach the mid-stage of manifestation on the spot. Clean up the battlefield. I'll go check on Lu Wei. Ning Yu waved his hand and stomped on the ground, wanting to rush into the room. Bang! Bang! However, just as Ning Yu moved, he saw two figures being thrown out of the room. Looking closely, Ning Yu was very familiar with these two figures. Chapter 847. People from the Ice Region PFFF. 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 The silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Their mid-stage manifestation realm aura instantly dropped to the yin-yang realm. Looking at the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast's miserable state, Ning Yu's expression turned gloomy. "Lu Wei, you don't belong here. Hurry up and return with me." Subsequently, a gloomy voice came from the room. "You will only be wasting your talents if you stay in the Great Xia Kingdom." I don't know who you are. Why should I go with you?" In the room, Lu Wei spoke in a cold voice. "Dark Emperor, treat the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast first. I'll go take a look." Ningyu's eyes turned cold as he instantly rushed out. Ningyu's speed was very fast. In just 0.01 seconds, he arrived at the door of the room. However, just as Ningyu arrived at the door, he was stopped by a young man. Get lost. The young man didn't put Ningyu in his eyes, as he immediately threw a punch at Ningyu. Not good. Feeling the horrifying essence force in the young man's fist, Ningyu's eyes turned dim as he quickly dodged to the side. Fortunately, Ningyu's speed was very fast. Otherwise, this young man's punch would be enough to send him to heaven. Wow, I didn't expect the great Xia Kingdom to have such a prodigy. Not simple indeed. The young man didn't expect Ningyu to dodge his punch, and was a little shocked. Crossing his arms in front of his chest, the young man looked at Ningyu with interest and said, "In our sect, with your strength, you should be able to become an inner disciple. You might even have the chance to become a core disciple. Du Feng, why are you wasting your breath on him? He is just a martial artist from a low-class kingdom. Hurry up and kill him before he divulges our matter." Inside the room, a similarly young cultivator said impatiently, "It was not easy to find Lu Wei this time. If something happens and the higher-ups blame us, we won't be able to bear the consequences." "Kiki, Wan Quan, you are thinking too much. The strongest expert in the Great Xia Kingdom is only at the peak stage of the creation realm." Du Feng smiled faintly and said, "You and I can kill many peak manifestation realm martial artists with a single move. Why worry?" "That being said, it's always better to be careful," Wan Quan said. "Who are you? Why are you taking Lu Wei away?" Hearing the conversation between the two young men, Ningyu scolded. From the conversation between the two young men, Ningyu obtained an important piece of information. They came to the Great Xia Kingdom to bring Lu Wei away, and they were entrusted by someone. Combined with the fact that Ouyang Ba had tried to capture Lu Wei several times previously, Ningyu deduced that Lu Wei's identity was definitely not simple. As for Lu Wei's background, Ningyu had no idea. However, regardless of Lu Wei's identity, as long as Lu Wei did not agree, Du Feng and Wan Quan could forget about taking Lu Wei away. "Kiki, do you really want to know our identities?" Hearing Ningyu's words, Du Feng raised his eyebrows and said with a smile, "Let me tell you something in advance. Those who know our identities have all disappeared. Now, do you still want to know? Actually, it doesn't matter if I don't know your identities, but if you want to take Lu Wei away, you should at least ask Lu Wei if she agrees, right?" Ningyu frowned. "I don't agree. I don't even know them," Lu Wei yelled. "As you can see, Lu Wei doesn't want to leave with you." Ningyu waved his hand and said, "If you know what's good for you, leave at once. Otherwise, you'll cause unnecessary trouble." "Trouble? What kind of trouble could there be?" Wan Quan scolded. "I'm not afraid to tell you that we are not from the Sky Demon region. We are from the Ice region. As for which sect we are from, with your status and strength, you are not worthy to know. Lu Wei, I know why you don't want to leave." At that moment, Du Feng pointed at the woman lying on the bed and said, "The pill of rebirth. This woman needs the pill of rebirth to live, and we happen to have the ingredients to refine the pill of rebirth. If you agree to leave with us, we will help you refine the pill of rebirth immediately." "What? You can help me refine the pill of rebirth?" Hearing this, Lu Wei gritted her teeth, looked at Ningyu, and said in a low voice, "As long as you can refine the pill of rebirth, I agree to leave with you." "Haha, you really are gullible. Although we have the ingredients to refine the pill of rebirth, it is not that easy to refine." Du Feng smiled in his heart, and then he sent a voice transmission to Wan Quan. "Let's take out the ingredients first and trick Lu Wei into leaving with us." "All right, let's do that." This year just happens to be the year when the extreme in body erupts. Any large fluctuation in emotions could cause it to erupt earlier. Wan Quan nodded, and then he took out a storage pouch from his robes. The sudden change in Du Feng and Wan Quan left Ningyu scratching his head in confusion. Just a moment ago, they were shouting about fighting and killing, so why did they change so quickly? The conditions here are not suitable to refine the pill of rebirth. In my opinion, we should find a quiet place to refine the pill. Wan Quan looked around and then said, "Lu Wei, if you need the pill of rebirth, then get rid of all the unrelated people. That's right, the pill of rebirth is extremely difficult to refine. The slightest disturbance will cause the refinement to fail, so it's better for unrelated people to leave. Du Feng agreed. This, Lu Wei's face showed a difficult expression. In truth, Lu Wei did not trust Du Feng and Wan Quan from the bottom of her heart. Such fickle people were most likely not good people. Experts from the ice domain, can you take out the ingredients for me to inspect? There are a total of 100 to 200 kinds of ingredients needed to refine the pill of rebirth. I don't believe that you have them with you, Ningyu said, knowing what Lu Wei was thinking. Who do you think you're to look at our ingredients? Wan Quan said coldly. Who doesn't know how to brag? The strength of your soul force is at best at the peak of grade 6. The pill of rebirth is a grade 8 pill. Are you sure you can refine it? Ningyu said disdainfully. The people of the Sky Demon region are indeed ignorant and inexperienced. Du Feng took out a crystal ball from his bosom and said, this thing can strengthen our soul force in a short period of time. Although our soul force is only at the peak of 6th grade, with this crystal ball, we can strengthen our soul force to the 8th grade realm. Isn't refining the pill of rebirth a piece of cake? Since the two of you are so capable, why don't I find a quiet place for you? Ningyu still looked as calm as before. How can a place like the Great Xia Empire, where even birds don't shit, be quiet? Du Feng shouted coldly. However, Du Feng's cold shout stopped abruptly before it could finish resounding through the air. This was because Ningyu had mentioned a place that shocked him. A pill cave. If you refine pills in a pill cave, no one will disturb you. Chapter 848. Soul Assimilating Powder. Chapter 848. Soul Assimilating Powder. We have been to all kinds of dangerous places. How can a mere elixir cave scare us? After a brief moment of shock, Du Feng snorted, we also want to see what's so special about the elixir cave of the Great Xia Kingdom. That's right. There are countless elixir caves in the ice region. We once met a Supreme Realm elixir puppet in one of the elixir caves. I'm sorry, but we killed it together, Wan Quan added. Since that's the case, why don't we move to the elixir cave and refine the elixir revival there? As he spoke, Ningyu gestured for them to leave. His meaning was self-evident. Let's go. Du Feng glared at Ningyu and left the room immediately. Wan Quan didn't stay any longer. He discreetly left a smear of medicinal powder on Lu Wei and followed Du Feng out of the room. No one else noticed Wan Quan's small action, but Ningyu's sharp senses did. Why don't you take them down? As soon as Du Feng and Wan Quan left the room, Hong Mo's voice echoed in Ningyu's ears. It's not that simple. If I'm not wrong, Du Feng and Wan Quan came prepared. They must have a powerful trump card. Ningyu shook his head and whispered. Moreover, they aren't weak. They might only be at the half-step creation realm, but I'm sure they are much stronger than Lingju. Stronger than Lingju? That's troublesome. Hong Mo frowned. Hong Mo had witnessed how strong Lingju was. Now that there were two more martial artists that were stronger than Lingju, it was indeed difficult to deal with them. Most importantly, they had just experienced a huge battle and weren't at their peak. It wasn't wise to clash with Du Feng and Wan Quan at this time. Actually, I'm not concerned about Du Feng and Wan Quan's strength, but Lu Wei's identity. Ningyu took a deep breath and said slowly, the fact that Du Feng and Wan Quan rushed over from the ice domain shows that Lu Wei's identity is definitely not ordinary. The pill cave is almost completely isolated from the outside world, so it's more convenient for us to act inside. Then, Ningyu turned around and smiled at Lu Wei. Wait here first. I'll definitely bring the revival good fortune pill over in a day. Without waiting for Lu Wei to say anything, Ningyu immediately left the room. Looking at Ningyu's back, Lu Swan bit his lips. No one knew what he was thinking. Ningyu, I heard that you're going to the pill cave. Outside the room, the Dark Emperor had already treated the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned vet. Seeing Ningyu come out, the Dark Emperor said, I want to go too. You stay and look after Lu Wei. Ningyu frowned. Haha, we're very interested in this dog. Let him go to the pill cave with us. Not far away, Du Feng smiled faintly. Ningyu's expression was gloomy. He did not make a decision immediately. To be honest, given the Dark Emperor's current battle strength, he could not last more than 3 moves against either Du Feng or Wan Quan. It was extremely dangerous to let the Dark Emperor go to the Pill Cave. What's so cowardly? Seeing Ningyu hesitate, Du Feng continued. Since that's the case, I think there's no need to go to the Pill Cave. Everyone should go back to their homes and find their own mothers. Why are you wasting time with him? Let's go back and forcefully take Lu Wei away. Wan Quan was very angry. He turned around and was about to fly back to his room. I'll let you guys show off for a while. I'll let you guys suffer when we get to the Pill Cave. Ningyu was very angry inside, but he looked calm on the surface. He waved his hand and said, "The Pill Cave is very big. One more person won't affect anything." One more person? Ha! It's clearly one more dog. Du Feng seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world and laughed wildly. Sigh, Du Feng, it's better not to say things so bluntly in someone else's place. Wan Quan sighed softly. The first sentence was fine, but the second sentence was sinister. I haven't eaten dog meat in a long time. I wonder if I can eat meat tonight. Hearing Wan Quan and Du Feng's ridicule, the Dark Emperor could not help but tremble. He looked like he was about to explode. Ha! At the critical moment, Ningyu pressed his palm on the Dark Emperor's shoulder and said indifferently, "The two of you don't have the slightest intention of going to the Pill Cavern. Do you want to refine the revival pill here?" Wan Quan, how long will it take for the soul-absorbing powder to take effect? Du Feng and Wan Quan did not directly answer Ningyu's question. They began to discuss in private. About 10 minutes. Wan Quan said, "You also know that you can't use too much of the soul-absorbing powder. Otherwise, it might backfire and cause the extremine body to erupt prematurely." 10 minutes? Du Feng pondered for a moment before saying, "Let's not go to the Pill Cave. We'll pretend to refine the elixir of creation here. After 10 minutes, when the soul-absorbing powder is completely effective, we'll make a move and get rid of all these small fries." Good idea. Wan Quan nodded. Ningyu, we've thought about it and found that it's quieter here. Let's refine the elixir of creation here. Du Feng turned around and said to Ningyu, "The elixir of creation is very difficult to refine. It's better for unrelated people, oh no, unrelated dogs to leave quickly." The Dark Emperor knew that Du Feng was referring to him. He immediately flew into a rage. "Don't be impatient." Ningyu comforted him. "The most important thing right now is the elixir of creation. Everything else can be put aside for now." Seeing that the Dark Emperor's anger had not subsided, Ningyu whispered a few words in the Dark Emperor's ear. Hearing Ningyu's words, the Dark Emperor's face revealed a furious expression. He then tore open the void and entered. "Don't worry. With me around, it's very safe here. If it weren't for your silver spearwax heads, you'd be able to refine the elixir of creation in a day at the latest." Ningyu said lightly, "Oomph. Du Feng, start the furnace." How could Wan Quan tolerate being mocked by Ningyu? After a cold snort, Wan Quan sat down cross-legged, took out a pill furnace, and began to refine the elixir of creation. Wan Quan was only a peak Tier 6 alchemist. If he wanted to refine the elixir of creation, he had to increase his soul force to the Tier 8 level. The soul force of a peak Tier 6 alchemist could at most refine some simple medicinal ingredients. There were hundreds of medicinal ingredients needed to refine the elixir of creation. With Wan Quan's current refining speed, it would take at least 1 to 2 hours to refine the key medicinal ingredients. Therefore, Ningyu was not worried that Wan Quan would waste the medicinal ingredients. Simple medicinal ingredients were very common. Ningyu was only worried about the key medicinal ingredients. As long as the key medicinal ingredients were not destroyed, Ningyu would not feel nervous or worried at all. TSK. Time passed by minute. In the blink of an eye, 5 minutes had passed. What's going on? Why can't my senses enter the room? It seems like the room is sealed by something. Chapter 849. 10 minutes. There's no need to think about it. It must be Ningyu's doing. Wan Quan said to Du Feng as he refined the medicinal ingredients, "Don't worry about it for now. Go to the room in 5 minutes." That's the only thing we can do now, Du Feng said helplessly. Swoosh. At the same time, Lu Wei was sitting cross-legged on the ground in the room. The Dark Emperor was standing on its hind legs with its front paws on Lu Wei's back. On Lu Xuan's shoulder, Harry Ball was blinking its little eyes, looking very adorable. Senior Dan Xingzi this. Can the Dark Emperor get rid of the soul-absorbing powder in Jiner's body? Lu Durong asked hesitantly, with a worried look on his face when he saw the Dark Emperor's actions. 3 minutes ago, Lu Jin had become drowsy, and even her consciousness was starting to blur. Fortunately, the Dark Emperor intervened at the crucial moment. Otherwise, who knew what would have happened to Lu Wei? However, Lu Durong did not really believe in the Dark Emperor. From what he knew, how capable could a dog be? One must know that even Dan Xingzi said that he was not confident in getting the soul-absorbing powder out of Lu Wei's body. Although I don't know if the Dark Emperor can get rid of the soul-absorbing powder, I know that the Dark Emperor was introduced by Ningyu. I believe in Ningyu, Dan Xingzi said solemnly. Woof woof. As if it had heard Dan Xingzi's words, Furball barked a few times. Furball, stop playing around and help. The Dark Emperor's eyes suddenly opened, and he grabbed Furball with his paw. He said in a low voice, pour all your energy into my body now. I want to get the soul-absorbing powder out. Woof. Furball revealed a displeased look when he was grabbed by the Dark Emperor. He barked again before pouring the energy in his body into the Dark Emperor's body. Come out. Feeling the violent energy waves in his body, the Dark Emperor gritted his teeth and gathered all his energy in his front paw, slapping it fiercely at Lu Wei's back. Poochie! In the next moment, Lu Wei's tightly shut eyes suddenly opened, and she spat out a large mouthful of black blood. Buzz! Above the black blood, a black gas suddenly emerged. Quick! Find something to put it in. Seeing this, the Dark Emperor shouted. Whoosh! Dan Xingzi didn't dare to be negligent. He hurriedly took out a jade bottle and carefully drew the black gas into it. Pa! Only when Dan Xingzi capped the bottle did the Dark Emperor let out a long sigh of relief. Fortunately, the room was sealed by Ningyu using a secret technique. Otherwise, Du Feng and Wan Quan would have definitely discovered some clues. Even so, Wan Quan, who was outside the room, felt a tightness in his chest, and he had the urge to spit out blood. What happened? Seeing Wan Quan's reaction, Du Feng hurriedly said, I'm fine. How many minutes have passed? Wan Quan forcefully swallowed the blood in his throat and asked in a deep voice. 8 minutes, 2 minutes left, Du Feng replied. Don't wait any longer. You should go to the room first. I have a feeling that the soul-absorbing powder left in Lu Wei's body has been forced out by someone else. Wan Quan waved his hand and gestured for Du Feng to enter the room to investigate. Understood. Du Feng gritted his teeth and leaped into the room. Swoosh! However, just as Du Feng arrived at the door of the room, Ningyu blocked in front of him. Ningyu's expression was devoid of joy or sorrow as he said indifferently, What are you going to do? Right now is the time to refine the revival pill. Leaving Wan Quan alone, aren't you a little too arrogant? Oomph. What does it have to do with you whether I'm arrogant or not? Du Feng snorted coldly and said, Hurry up and scram if you know what's good for you. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Scram shouldn't be possible. If you want to enter the room, you have to defeat me. Swoosh! As his voice fell, Ningyu's aura was released, soaring into the sky. Hiss! Feeling the terrifying aura exuding from Ningyu, Du Feng could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. Wait another 2 minutes. Du Feng was not afraid of Ningyu. He was afraid that fighting here would affect Lu Wei. Their mission was to take away Lu Wei. To be precise, they wanted to take away Lu Wei, who had yet to erupt. Once the extreme Yin body erupted, even if they brought her back, they would not be able to contain it and could only helplessly kill her. Therefore, Du Feng chose to endure for 2 minutes. Drip, drip. Time was ticking away. Although 2 minutes was not a long time, in Du Feng's heart, it was longer than 2 years. Swoosh! At the last moment, Du Feng instantly rushed out. His fist was covered in violent yuan energy as he fiercely punched at Ningyu's head. Brat, I've long found you an eyesore. Now, let me send you to hell. Chi. Dufeng was not only fast, but even the yuan energy on his fist made a hissing sound. In almost an instant, Dufeng arrived in front of Ningyu. Solitaire. Ningyu flicked his sleeve, and in an instant, the red demon's sword appeared in his hand. An earth-shattering sword wave slashed out. Damn it, you don't play by the rules. Seeing the huge sword wave coming towards him, Dufeng hurriedly retreated. Dufeng did not have the guts to use his fist to meet such a terrifying sword wave head-on. What do you mean by playing by the rules? I didn't say that I had to exchange blows with you. You were just stupid. Ningyu shrugged and slashed out several more sword waves. Whoosh! In midair, several sword waves appeared. Half of them slashed at Dufeng, while the other half slashed at Wan Quan, who was refining the revival pill. Dark Emperor, bring Lu Wei and the others to the pill cavern first. Remember, no matter what, ensure the safety of Lu Wei and the others. As Ningyu fought with Dufeng and Wan Quan, he sent a soul transmission to the Dark Emperor. Understood. The Dark Emperor knew that the matter was urgent. He carried Lu Wei on his back and left through the secret passage in the room. Actually, the secret passage in this room was personally designed by Mu Feng. Mu Feng knew the importance of Lu Wei to Ningyu. He directly dug the secret passage into the pill cavern. As long as one left through the secret passage, one could directly reach the pill cavern. The pill cavern was a mystical place. Without a token, even martial artists whose cultivation reached the supreme realm would find it hard to enter. Mu Feng handed the token to Dan Xingzi. He did not expect that this move would actually come in handy. Dufeng and Wan Quan did not know what happened in the room. At this time, the two of them were resisting the several sword waves in midair with all their strength. Boom! Boom! Dufeng and Wan Quan each blasted out several fist lights. Each fist light met a sword wave. Both sides dissipated between heaven and earth at the same time. Humph! Ningyu, we were originally planning on letting you live. Since you're seeking death, don't blame us. Dufeng said with a cold snort. Why are you talking nonsense with him? 10 minutes have passed. The soul-absorbing powder must have taken effect. Let's kill him first, then bring Lu Wei back to the ice domain, Wan Quan said impatiently. I'm very sorry. I might have to disappoint you. Ningyu shrugged and said, I already knew that Wan Quan left something on Lu Wei's body. If nothing goes wrong, Lu Wei and the others have already reached a safe area. Impossible. Chapter 850. Chapter 850. The TRH looked down on Ningyu smirked as he looked at the fist aura approaching him. He dodged to the side. Rumble. Ningyu had dodged the attack, but the room behind him had nowhere to hide. After the earth-shattering explosion, everything returned to normal. After the smoke had dissipated, Wan Quan stared at the empty ground with his mouth slightly agape. His expression was one of annoyance. In fact, the moment Ningyu moved to the side, Wan Quan understood that what Ningyu said was true. Lu Wei had long since moved to a safe place. Otherwise, Ningyu wouldn't have dodged it. Instead, he would have blocked it with all his might. Ningyu, I'll give you one last chance to live. Hand over Lu Wei, and I'll let you live. Wan Quan took a deep breath and instantly calmed down. Dufeng, let's split up. I'll deal with Ningyu while you go on a killing spree. Wan Quan's voice wasn't loud, but when it landed in Ningyu's heart, it made Ningyu's heart tremble. Dufeng and Wan Quan were both very powerful. If they were to start a massacre in Danwu College, the consequences would be unimaginable. Ningyu, give me the red demon sword. I have a way to stop Dufeng. Just as Ningyu was deep in thought, the red fiend suddenly leaped out of the red fiend sword and charged at Dufeng with the red fiend sword in hand. Courting death. A look of disdain appeared on Dufeng's face when he saw a red figure holding a red flying sword charging towards him. Dufeng even said to Wan Quan, after we capture Ningyu, don't kill him yet. We have to interrogate Lu Wei. Oh no. However, Dufeng had obviously underestimated the strength of the red fiend. Although Hong Mo's cultivation wasn't very high, the red demon sword in his hand was a monarch rank flying sword. With a monarch-rank flying sword and Du Feng's carelessness, Du Feng's arm was pierced by the Red Devil's sword. Whoosh! At the critical moment, it was fortunate that Du Feng moved his body slightly to the side. Otherwise, it was very likely that the Red Devil's sword would have cut off his arm. Even so, Du Feng's arm was cut open, and blood flowed out. You've completely infuriated me. I'm going to cut you into 8 pieces. A cold glint flashed across Du Feng's eyes as he spoke viciously. Those who want to chop me into pieces are right. Who do you think you are? The Red Fiend knew that he was inferior to Du Feng in terms of raw strength. Only by infuriating Du Feng and making him lose his rationality would he be able to last longer. The longer he persisted, the more chances Ningyu had to kill Wan Quan. Let's see if you can still be so stubborn later. Du Feng stamped his feet on the ground and dashed forward. Boom! While Du Feng was fighting the Red Fiend, Ningyu was already fighting Wan Quan. Wan Quan and Du Feng were much stronger than Ling Ju of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Wan Quan was even more terrifying than Du Feng. All in all, only 1.5 Du Feng could fight Wan Quan. I need to find a chance to use the ancient scroll. Ning Yu's eyes darted around as he fought Wan Quan carefully, trying to come up with a countermeasure. If Ning Yu had any trump cards, it would be the flower bud and the blue ancient scroll that he had obtained from Mu Tian. For some reason, the flower bud seemed to have entered a hibernation period. No matter how Ning Yu called out to it, it would not respond. As for the blue ancient scroll that he had obtained from Mu Tian, Ning Yu knew that although it was powerful, it would be extremely difficult to kill Wan Quan. Unless Wan Quan was at the center of the ancient scroll's explosion, he would only be injured. It would not be able to kill him. Ningyu, how dare you get distracted while fighting me? You're the first martial artist below the manifestation realm to do so. Just as Ningyu was deep in thought, Wan Quan's fist tore through the air and arrived in front of Ningyu. It struck Ningyu's chest. Wan Quan's fist had initially targeted Ningyu's heart. However, Ningyu's sharp senses had reacted in time, and he had bent his body slightly. Don't underestimate the fact that Ningyu had bent his body this time, which directly prevented him from being seriously injured. Uffed. Ningyu spat out a mouthful of blood and hurriedly used a spell to stabilize himself. He said coldly, Wan Quan, you are a genius from the ice domain. Do you dare to fight me head-on? You want to fight me head-on? Wan Quan stopped moving and turned to look at Du Feng, who had the upper hand. He said in a low voice, No problem. Let's fight. Do you think I'm afraid of you? As he spoke, a cold expression appeared on Wan Quan's face. Ningyu keenly caught the cold expression on his face. You want to fight me head-on? It's not that easy, Wan Quan thought to himself. There's something fishy going on. However, this is a good opportunity for me. Ningyu took a deep breath and secretly hid the ancient scroll in his sleeve. At the same time, his soul power quietly entered the ancient scroll. Swoosh! Swoosh! In the next moment, Ningyu and Wan Quan rushed out together. Ningyu's right fist was in front, and his body was behind. He was extremely fast. Wan Quan's left fist was in front, and his body was behind. His speed was no slower than Ningyu's. Whoosh! For some reason, Ningyu and Wan Quan's actions made the Red Devils and Du Feng stop at the same time. Their eyes were fixed on Ningyu and Wan Quan, wanting to see who would emerge victorious in this exchange. Du Feng was naturally on Wan Quan's side. He crossed his arms in front of his chest and said with a faint smile, Don't underestimate Wan Quan just because he's a half-step to Manifestation Realm martial artist. He once killed a half-step to Supremacy Realm martial artist with his bare hands. There are also many half-step to Supremacy Realm martial artists who died in Ningyu's hands, the Red Devil said coldly as he held the Red Devil sword. Hee. I might believe you if you say that Ningyu used your royal-grade flying sword to kill a half-step to Supremacy Realm martial artist. However, why do I feel like you're bragging when you say that Ningyu killed a half-step to Supremacy Realm martial artist with his bare hands? Du Feng said with a sinister smile. We'll know if I'm bragging or not, the Red Devil said in a deep voice. Although the Red Devil seemed to think highly of Ningyu, he was actually very nervous. Just as Du Feng said, Even a half-step to supremacy realm martial artist might not be able to block Wan Quan's punch, let alone Ningyu without the Red Devil sword. The Red Devil secretly made up his mind. As long as Ningyu was injured, he would save Ningyu even if he had to risk his life. You don't have to be so worried. Du Feng shrugged when he saw the Red Devil's expression and said calmly, Wan Quan won't kill Ningyu. Then, Du Feng added another sentence. At the very least, before we find Lu Wei, Ningyu won't be. What? Before Du Feng could finish his sentence, his mouth was so wide that several eggs could be stuffed into it. His face was filled with disbelief. Du Feng's body was even trembling as he stood rooted to the ground. In the distance, a blue ancient scroll shot out from Ningyu's sleeve. In the blink of an eye, it enlarged and wrapped Wan Quan inside. Swoosh! At the same time, Ningyu's figure flashed, and he rushed toward the Red Devil. Red Devil, leave quickly. The power of the ancient scroll's explosion isn't something you and I can block. Ningyu wouldn't leave the Red Devil alone. He used his soul power to control the explosion of the scroll and rushed toward the Red Devil. Rumble. Chapter 851. The scroll exploded. The power of the blue ancient scroll's explosion was extremely shocking. Wan Quan was at the center of the explosion, and the result was obvious. After the scream, Wan Quan's body suddenly exploded, turning into fragments that scattered in all directions. Hong Mo, get into the storage ring. Ningyu shouted with all his might at the critical moment. Swash! Hong Mo was not an indecisive person. He knew that he would die if he stayed. Therefore, he fused with the Red Demon's sword with all his might and flew into the storage ring. As for Ningyu, he summoned his golden core and released terrifying essence Qi into the surroundings. Ningyu's intention was obvious. He wanted to use his golden core to withstand the power of the explosion. Idiot! Du Feng cursed silently when he saw Ningyu's actions. He tore open the void and dove in. Du Feng had seen his fair share of ancient scrolls. It wasn't as if he hadn't seen something more powerful than this ancient scroll. However, there was a saying that the more one knew, the more afraid one would be. Although he was not at the center of the ancient scroll's explosion, Du Feng knew that he would not be able to withstand the power of the scroll's explosion. If he stayed, he would be severely injured even if he did not die. Only by tearing open the void and escaping would he have a chance of survival. However, not long after Du Feng dove into the void, he hurriedly flew out as though he encountered something terrifying. Most importantly, Du Feng opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. His aura dropped from the half-step manifestation realm to the yin-yang realm. Rumble. At the same time, the shockwave from the ancient scroll's explosion had already reached Du Feng. Du Feng did not dare to be careless when he saw the terrifying shockwave. He immediately flicked his wrist, and a few Dharma treasures flew out from his sleeves. Crack! Unfortunately, these Dharma treasures were instantly crushed into pieces like children in front of a burly man when they encountered the shockwave of the scroll's explosion. Boom! Subsequently, the shockwave from the scroll's explosion landed on Du Feng's chest under his horrified gaze. On the other side, Ningyu naturally did not care if Du Feng would be killed because he was in an equally dangerous situation. Psst! Chi. Although the Yuan Qi released by the Golden Core was very vigorous, it still did not gain the slightest advantage from the aftermath of the scroll explosion. Even his Golden Dan was shaking, as if it was about to be torn apart. Kacha! Suddenly, a slight crack appeared on the Golden Core. Kacha! Kacha! Before long, more and more cracks appeared on the Golden Core. In the end, Ningyu had no choice but to withdraw his Golden Core back into his sea of consciousness, because if this continued, his Golden Core was destined to explode. Bang! Fortunately, the Golden Elixir had weakened the aftermath of the explosion of the scroll. Otherwise, if Ningyu chose to withdraw the Golden Elixir at this time, it would undoubtedly be courting death. But even so, Ningyu still suffered terrible consequences. Poo-pu-pu. After spitting out several mouthfuls of fresh blood, Ning Yu's aura also fell from the half-step manifestation stage to the yin-yang stage. The explosion of the ancient scroll came too quickly, and it also left too quickly. 3 minutes later, when everything had disappeared, all the buildings and plants in the area had been swept away, leveled to the ground. Cough, cough. Another 3 minutes later, a sudden coughing sound was heard in the area. Then, a skinny figure stood up slowly. The skinny figure was in tatters. His clothes were ragged, and even his hair was very messy. The power of the ancient scroll is indeed powerful. The skinny man scanned his surroundings and mumbled, Mu Tian alone has such a heaven-defying ancient scroll. It looks like I'll have to be extra careful when I meet other genius cultivators in the future. I might fail miserably at any time. Right, why don't I see Du Feng? Suddenly, Ningyu seemed to have thought of something and looked around again. After a while, Ningyu slowly withdrew his gaze and frowned. Wan Quan was at the center of the explosion, so it's understandable that he was killed. However, Du Feng was in the same situation as me. Logically speaking, he shouldn't have been killed. Boom! Before Ningyu finished speaking, a rumbling sound came from not far away. Then, a figure in an equally sorry state sprang out from the ground. Du Feng, looking at the young martial artist in front of him whose face could no longer be seen, Ningyu hesitated. Ningyu, the mountains will not change, and the rivers will flow. Just you wait and see. With a cold shout, Du Feng took out a scroll from his bosom and tore it open. Buzz, buzz. As the scroll was torn apart, the space around Du Feng gradually became distorted. Bang! However, before Du Feng could enter the space, a black figure appeared around him and struck his chest. The huge force from his chest caused Du Feng to lose his balance and fall to the ground. Dark Emperor, seeing the martial artist standing beside Du Feng, Ningyu's face lit up with joy. To be honest, Ningyu was helpless about Du Feng's escape just now. Now that the Dark Emperor appeared, his worries were completely dispelled. One had to know that Du Feng's background was definitely much deeper than Mu Tian's. Once Du Feng escaped, the consequences would be unimaginable. The Dark Emperor's timely appearance caused the worries in Ningyu's heart to disappear completely. In the next moment, Ningyu moved and stood in front of Du Feng. He said, I'll give you a chance to live. Answer a few questions of mine honestly. Tui, Du Feng spat and said coldly, kill me if you have the ability. Otherwise, I'll let you know why flowers are so red. Pa, 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 pa. The Dark Emperor hated people like Du Feng the most. He was clearly a prisoner, but he was still so arrogant. Against such people, the Dark Emperor would slap them a few times. Don't think that I won't know if you don't answer. Ningyu waved his hand, indicating for the Dark Emperor to stop first. Because if he continued, Du Feng might be beaten to death. You have a way to know? Ha ha ha. As long as I don't want to say it, no one can get any information from me. Du Feng laughed wildly and said, right? I'll tell you very clearly right now. I've already sent the news that Lu Wei is here back to Domain Ice. I believe it won't be long before people from Domain Ice will come. At that time, it will be the time of your death. F***CK. The Dark Emperor cursed and stepped forward to kick Du Feng's head, causing Du Feng to fall flat on his face. Ningyu, hand him over to me. I guarantee that I'll make him obedient, the Dark Emperor said in a low voice. Don't be anxious. Ningyu said indifferently. Du Feng, let me ask you one last question. What is Lu Wei's identity? What identity? Du Feng raised his brows and said, there's no harm in telling you. Lu Wei has an extreme yin body, and this year is the outbreak period. Extreme yin body. Hearing that, Ningyu could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. Extreme yin body was an extremely terrifying physique. Chapter 852. Snake all grass, however, when the heavens opened a door for you, they would definitely close a window for you. When the extreme yin physique erupted, although one's strength would increase greatly, the aftermath was unimaginable. It felt like the decay of the heavens, rapidly aging until death. Lu Wei actually has the extreme yin physique, and it's going to erupt this year. Ningyu fell into deep thought. Because he had encountered the extreme in physique before, Ningyu had deliberately learned everything about it. Ningyu knew very well that in this year, when the extreme in physique was about to erupt, any great stimulation could speed up the eruption of the extreme in physique. No wonder Wan Quanhui left the soul assimilating powder on Lu Wei. Ningyu murmured, "Looks like I can't let Lu Wei suffer any stimulation for the time being. Ningyu, I know how to suppress the extreme in physique. As long as you let me go, I will tell you the method." Du Feng felt that his chance had come when he saw Ningyu's expression. He activated the Great Deception technique. In the ice realm, who doesn't know that I, Du Feng, am a man of my words? Shut up, did I allow you to speak? The Dark Emperor raised his hand and slapped him again, knocking out several of Du Feng's teeth. Du Feng had a violent temper. He naturally couldn't tolerate being slapped again and again by the Dark Emperor. Don't go too far. At most, we'll both die together. Du Feng's body swelled as he spoke. You want to self-destruct? Ningyu frowned at Du Feng's actions. He then waved his hand. Kill him. There's no need to keep him alive. Understood. The Dark Emperor was waiting for Ningyu to say that. Du Feng had called him a dog time and time again. How could he tolerate it? Now that there was a rare opportunity, the Dark Emperor had to treat Du Feng well. Swish! Just as the Dark Emperor left with Du Feng, the Red Devil flew out from the storage ring and landed in Ningyu's Shinongon. The Red Devil frowned and asked doubtfully, "Why didn't you dig out more information from Du Feng's mouth?" Du Feng is rather special. I only know that he's from the ice domain, but I don't know which power he's from. Letting out a sigh, Ningyu slowly said, "I'm afraid that leaving Du Feng behind might cause unnecessary trouble." What kind of trouble could there be? We just need to use the array formation in the storage ring to trap Du Feng. Hong Mo was still a little confused. Let's not take over this matter for now. Let's first rescue Mu Feng and the others. After saying this, Ningyu's figure flickered as he flew towards Mu Feng's location. As a Sky Supreme in his previous life, Ningyu knew this better than anyone else. Heavenly Supremes had the ability to control genius martial artists from afar. Before figuring out if there were any heavenly sovereigns behind Du Feng, it's impossible for Ningyu to use the array in the storage ring to control Du Feng. Dealing with such a terrifying, unknown genius, it's better to kill him to prevent future troubles. Russell. At the same time, in a certain Holmu Feng, Ancestor Jiumo, the Black Widow, and the Black and White heroes sat down and tried to break the array. Damn it! Why is this array so powerful? Ancestor Jiumo couldn't help cursing. When Ningyu returns and sees us in this state, he will probably fly into a rage. It doesn't matter if we die. Right now, I'm only concerned if Lu Wei and the rest were taken away or killed by Mu Tian. Mu Feng solemnly said. It's hard to say. Mu Tian and Ningyu are mortal enemies. The Black Widow said, in my opinion, Mu Tian won't kill or take away Lu Wei before he meets with Ningyu. The Black and White heroes said in unison, Mu Tian's target is Ningyu. If I'm not wrong, he will definitely use Lu Wei as bait to lure Ningyu into a trap and catch him like a turtle in a jar. Sigh. Even if Ningyu returns, he won't be a match for Mu Tian. Ancestor Jiumo sighed. Furthermore, there's an even more powerful genius martial artist beside Mu Tian. Swish. Swish. As Ancestor Jiumo spoke, two figures suddenly descended in front of the hall. The sudden appearance of these two figures caused Ancestor Jiumo's mouth to drop. He felt that this was unrealistic. Ningyu. Ancestor Jiumo was stunned, but that didn't mean that everyone else was stunned. This was especially true for Mu Feng. When he saw the familiar figure at the entrance of the hall, he immediately shouted, When did you return? Lu Wei is in the forbidden area. Hurry up and go. It'll be too late if you wait any longer. It's fine. I just came from Lu Wei's place. Ningyu waved his hand, indicating that Mu Feng didn't need to be anxious. In fact, Ningyu was very gratified that Mu Feng was still thinking about Lu Wei at this time. Without any hesitation, Ningyu stomped on the ground and directly rushed to a flag in the corner. Be careful. Is the power of this array very great, Mufeng hurriedly warned when he saw Ningyu's actions. However, Mufeng's warning came to an abrupt halt halfway through. Ningyu flew back and forth in the main hall and easily uprooted the 4 flags in a few seconds. At this moment, the array that had trapped Mufeng and the others for a long time was finally broken. Gulp! Mufeng and the others used their perception to probe for a while. Then, they all swallowed a mouthful of saliva and looked at Ningyu as if they were looking at a monster. Isn't this a little too damn terrifying? You have to know that this formation has trapped us for a long time. How could you break it so easily? Where do you think we can put our faces? Don't worry. Mu Tian has already been killed by me, Ningyu said with a faint smile. Ningyu's words were light and breezy. However, when it landed in the ears of Mu Feng and the others, it was like a clap of thunder. Mu Tian, who was extremely powerful, was killed just like that. It was no wonder that Mu Feng and the others didn't believe it. After all, the shock that Mu Tian gave them was too great. If someone told them that Mu Tian could fight against a half-step supreme being, they probably wouldn't be shocked. You guys don't need to worry about this matter. I want to ask if there are any more medicinal ingredients to refine the revival pill. Ningyu didn't want to tell Mu Feng and the others the truth of the matter. If he told them that there were still Du Feng and Wan Quan, who knew how they would feel. There are only 2 sets of medicinal ingredients to refine the revival pill. One of them is with Dan Xingzi. As for the other, taking a deep breath, Mu Feng said, "It's not complete." Not complete? Which medicinal ingredient is missing? Ningyu asked. Snake gall grass. Mu Feng answered honestly. Snake gall grass, huh? It's a little troublesome. Ningyu frowned slightly and muttered. Although the snake gall grass wasn't the most expensive medicinal ingredient to refine the revival pill, it was the most difficult to obtain. Ningyu, I know who has the snake gall grass. Chapter 853. Chapter 853. Duan Cheng. Who is he? Ningyu asked with a frown. An old man. Mu Feng replied. Speaking of which, it was a coincidence that I was able to meet that old man. Then, Mu Feng told him about the situation when he met the old man. Mu Feng spoke while Ningyu listened. After a while, Ningyu figured out the ins and outs. It turned out that the old man had bumped into Mu Feng on the streets of the capital, and a snake gall grass had fallen to the ground. How could Mu Feng let go of such a good opportunity? Hence, Mu Feng had spent a small amount of money to purchase the snake gall grass. After returning, Mu Feng sent someone to follow the old man, and only called the person back after discovering the old man's residence. What's the old man's cultivation base? Ningyu asked. I'm not very sure about his exact cultivation base. Mu Feng recalled and said, but from the aura that the old man emitted, I can determine that his cultivation base should be around the primordial core realm. Around the primordial core realm? Ningyu vaguely felt that something was amiss. The snake gall grass was extremely precious, and even if the old man carried it with him, he would be extremely careful. However, not only did the old man carry the snake gall grass with him, but he also coincidentally bumped into Mu Feng, causing the snake gall grass to fall to the ground. The series of coincidences made Ningyu extremely careful. Bring me to see that old man. After pondering for a moment, Ningyu's figure flashed, and he immediately rushed out of the main hall. As the Dark Emperor was still refining Du Feng, Ningyu temporarily left him in Danwu College. The Dark Emperor was an early-stage manifestation realm cultivator. Together with the Silver Winged Dragon, the Twin Horns Beast, and Old Ancestor GOMO, he could even fight against a peak-stage manifestation realm cultivator. As for the Red Devil and Furball, they followed closely behind Ningyu. Russell. On the streets of the capital, Ningyu, the Red Devil, and Mu Feng walked side by side. There are more and more experts in the capital. Feeling the strong auras of the surrounding cultivators, Ningyu muttered to himself. In the past, primal core cultivators were rarely seen. Now, there are as many primal core cultivators as there are dogs, yin-yang cultivators everywhere, and even a few creation realm cultivators. Ever since the day after you left the capital, the number of unfamiliar faces in the capital has gradually increased. Mu Feng nodded his head and said, "However, I have sent experts to the 4 entrances of the capital. As long as a peak manifestation stage martial artist enters the capital, they will inform me immediately. Currently, no peak manifestation stage martial artist has appeared in the capital, Rumble." However, before Mu Feng could finish his sentence, a terrifying aura soared into the sky from afar. The aura of someone at the peak of the blessed realm. I didn't expect there to be a martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm in the capital. What's there to be surprised about? A few days ago, there was a martial artist at the peak of the blessed realm attacking Donwu College, but wasn't it still resolved? Although that's the case, the atmosphere in the capital has been getting heavier and heavier. I predict that there will be a bloodbath in the near future. Let's get ready and hide in another city. The terrifying aura that soared into the sky, coupled with the discussions that entered his ears, made Mu Feng's face burn. He felt very embarrassed. A slap in the face. A naked slap in the face. Mu Feng had just said that there were no martial artists at the peak of the blessed realm in the capital, and there was a martial artist who responded with a terrifying aura. It was indeed a little embarrassing. Don't worry, the capital will not be the center of the whirlpool. At most, it will be a transitional place. Ningyu waved his hand, indicating that Mu Feng did not need to worry. From Wu Xie's words, Ningyu could roughly determine that the center of the whirlpool was most likely the magical Beast Mountain range. That's not what I'm worried about. Ningyu's words dispelled Mu Feng's awkwardness. Mu Feng shook his head and said, "The direction in which the aura of the peak of the blessed realm soared into the sky is the direction we are going. I'm afraid that we might encounter trouble." He, a mere martial artist at the peak of the blessed realm, is not worth mentioning. Ningyu smiled faintly, then moved his feet and walked forward. Mu Feng and the Red Devil looked at each other and quickly chased after him. Sometimes, a person's judgment could be wrong. It did not seem too far, but Ningyu and the others walked for more than 10 minutes before they arrived. Bang, bang, bang. In front of a dilapidated courtyard, Mu Feng was knocking on the door. Creak. Not long after, the door slowly opened from the inside, and a young man appeared in front of Ningyu and the others. "Everyone, come over here. Master is refining elixirs. We can only see him in about an hour," the young man said. Not simple. Ningyu's eyes swept over the young man, and his face became solemn. On the surface, the young man's cultivation was roughly at the primal core realm. However, Ningyu's sharp perception discovered that the young man's cultivation should not be lower than the yin-yang realm. There was even a high possibility that he was at the blessed realm. Thinking of this, Ningyu secretly became cautious. "Everyone, rest here for the time being. Once Master comes out, I will immediately bring you to see him." The young man brought Ningyu and the others to a room, then left directly. "Don't be impatient. Let's wait and see." Seeing that Mu Feng wanted to say something, Ningyu immediately sat on a chair and closed his eyes. Seeing Ningyu's action, Mu Feng also sat on a chair and closed his eyes to rest. Creak. At the same time, the young man walked into a room not far away. If Mu Feng was here, he would definitely find that there was another person in the room. It was the old man who sold him the snake gall grass. "Master, I don't understand why you insist on seeing Ningyu," the young man complained. "According to my observation, Ningyu is sloppy and ordinary. The strength of his soul energy is at most at the peak of the 6th grade. The reason why I want to see Ningyu is because I want to test him. If he is suitable, I plan to take him as my disciple." The old man smiled faintly. Swoosh. Hearing this, the young man jumped up and said in surprise, "Master, you actually want to take Ningyu as your disciple? Are you sure you're not joking? You should know that with your position in the Alchemist Union, as long as you reveal the news of taking in a disciple, I am afraid the door will be broken. Duan Cheng, you should know very well that I take in a disciple by fate. If there is no fate, no matter how talented he is, I will not take him as my disciple." The old man said, "Didn't I take you as my disciple because we are fated?" Seeing that Duan Cheng still wanted to say something, the old man interrupted him and continued. "Go and test Ningyu. Help me check him out. Okay, I also want to see what is so special about this Ningyu. Duan Cheng said coldly and left the room without looking back. Looking at Duan Cheng's back, the old man murmured. Chapter 854. Alchemy Furnace Heavenly Ranking Chapter 854. Alchemy Furnace Heavenly Ranking Creek. After leaving the old man's place, Duan Cheng came to the room that Ningyu was in and directly pushed the door open. Swoosh! The door was pushed open and Ningyu and Mu Feng opened their eyes simultaneously. A hint of anger appeared on their faces. Although this is your house, we are guests. Isn't it a little inappropriate to enter without knocking? Ningyu, my master said that if you want to see him, you have to defeat me. Duan Cheng did not care about Ningyu's strange expression at all and said proudly, be it in alchemy or martial arts. Young hero, our main purpose of coming here is to buy. Mu Feng was afraid that Ningyu and Duan Cheng would have a conflict, so he quickly said, I don't care what you are here for. In short, you have to defeat me first. Duan Cheng interrupted Mu Feng and said coldly. Mu Feng was slightly embarrassed by Duan Cheng's interruption. You are very strong. When they were in the courtyard, Ningyu did not probe Duan Cheng deeply. After all, he was a guest, and it was not convenient for him to probe him openly. However, now that the other party had said such provocative words, it would be a little unreasonable if he still had scruples about this. Ningyu's perception began to probe Duan Cheng's body without restraint. Duan Cheng raised his eyebrows as if he had discovered something but could not touch it. Ningyu, I don't need you to praise me whether I am strong or not. You only need to answer me. Do you dare to fight with me? His real cultivation should be half-step to the manifestation realm, and his soul strength is at the early stage of the 7th grade. After roughly determining Duan Cheng's cultivation and soul strength, Ningyu said calmly, Tell me, how do you want to fight? All right, I like straightforward people like you. Duan Cheng flicked his sleeves, and 2 storage bags flew out in an instant. Pa! Seeing Ningyu catch the storage bags steadily, Duan Cheng said, Don't say that I bullied you. There are 2 sets of medicinal materials needed to refine the 6th grade elixir congealing pill. Let's compete in alchemy here. Rules. Ningyu's tone was calm. 1 hour. Whoever refines the highest quality spirit congealing pill within an hour will be the winner. Ningyu being so calm made Duan Cheng very unhappy. I am an early stage 7th grade alchemist, and you're only a peak 6th grade alchemist. There is a big gap between the 2 of us. Like this kind of 6th grade spirit congealing pill, I can casually refine a top grade level. What right do you have to be so pretentious? An hour is too long. For a qualified alchemist, the spirit congealing pill can be refined in only half an hour. Ningyu waved his hand and said, If there's no problem, let's start now. I have something important to discuss with your master. I can't wait too long. Humph. Arrogant. Duan Cheng snorted coldly and immediately took out the pill furnace that he carried with him. He immediately sat cross-legged and began to refine the spirit congealing pill. The pill furnace on the heavenly list? Seeing Duan Cheng take out the pill furnace, Mu Feng was surprised. At least you have some knowledge. Duan Cheng sneered and said, With this pill furnace, I can even compress the alchemy time to 20 minutes. Swish, swish, swish. Ningyu didn't care whether Duan Cheng pretended to be pretentious or not. He just wanted to refine the spirit congealing pill as soon as possible and then go see Duan Cheng's master. Once he got the snake all grass, he could prepare to refine the good fortune pill. All of you go in. Seeing that Ningyu didn't notice him at all, Duan Cheng felt that his pretentious act failed. He grabbed several medicinal materials and threw them into the pill furnace. Chi-chi. Several medicinal materials were constantly being burned in the pill furnace, making a sizzling sound. Not long after, these medicinal materials were all turned into medicinal liquid. Duan Cheng's action was very fast. The medicinal materials had just been refined, and he grabbed several medicinal materials and threw them into the pill furnace. In a short span of 5 minutes, Duan Cheng had already refined all the medicinal ingredients once. Next, He waited for the compression and pill formation. On the other hand, Ningyu was not in a hurry, throwing the medicinal materials into the pill furnace one by one. With your refining speed, let alone refining the best spirit congealing pill, whether you can refine, it is still unknown. Duan Cheng seemed to be very idle. While refining the pill, he also paid attention to Ningyu's movements, especially when he saw that there were still a lot of medicinal materials left next to Ningyu. He couldn't help but laugh. Hongemo, you and Ningyu have been together for a long time. Tell me the truth. Can Ningyu refine the spirit congealing pill? Not only was Duan Cheng not optimistic about Ningyu, even Mu Feng was not optimistic about Ningyu. Mu Feng was an 8th grade alchemist. According to Ningyu's refining speed, he would definitely not be able to refine the spirit congealing pill within half an hour. Don't worry, Ningyu will definitely be able to refine the spirit congealing pill. Hong Mo was very reassured about Ningyu. What a joke! Ningyu's alchemy level was very high. In addition, Ningyu's soul force had reached the peak of the 6th grade. If he couldn't refine this kind of 6th grade pill, how could he survive in the continent in the future? I hope he can refine it as soon as possible. Although Hong Mo was very confident, Mu Feng was still not very optimistic about Ningyu. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Time passed by minute, and in a blink of an eye, 15 minutes had passed. Duan Cheng was compressing the pill, preparing for the final step of forming the pill. As for Ningyu, although he had refined all the medicinal herbs, there was still a long way to go before he could form the pill. Another 5 minutes passed, and when the 20th minute arrived, Duan Cheng patted the pill furnace. Swish! In an instant, the pill lid burst open, and a round pill flew out of the pill furnace. Duan Cheng's eyes were sharp, and he grabbed the spirit congealing pill in his hand. Supreme Spirit Congealing Pill. Looking at the spirit congealing pill in Duan Cheng's hand, Mu Feng's mouth opened slightly, and his face was full of surprise. Duan Cheng can actually refine the Supreme Spirit Congealing Pill within 20 minutes. It seems that the strength of his soul force is at least 7th grade. Mu Feng was very clear about the difficulty of refining the spirit congealing pill. With his 8th grade soul force, he might not be able to refine the Supreme Spirit Congealing Pill within 20 minutes. But Duan Cheng actually did it. Rise! Duan Cheng held the Supreme Spirit Congealing Pill in his hand and turned to look at Ningyu. However, just as Duan Cheng turned around, before he had time to speak, he saw Ningyu's palm also patting the pill furnace. Boom! A slightly muffled sound rang out. Then Ningyu put his palm into the pill furnace and took out a black pill. Seeing the black pill in Ningyu's hand, Duan Cheng was startled at first, and then he looked up to the sky and laughed wildly. Ha ha ha! Duan Cheng laughed so wildly that he couldn't even straighten his back. Ningyu, I didn't expect you to be defeated in the first round of alchemy. It seems that the second round of fighting can be cancelled. Duan Cheng laughed sinisterly. Is that so? Hearing this, Ningyu raised his eyebrows, and then he put the black pill in his mouth and blew on it. Swish! In the next moment, a cloud of black powder was blown away. The spirit congealing pill had completely changed. Chapter 855. Grade 3 Medicinal Pill Recipe Hiss. Seeing the change of the spirit congealing pill, Duan Cheng couldn't help but take a deep breath and was stunned in place. Transcendent Grade Spirit Congealing Pill. The quality of the spirit congealing pill in Ningyu's hands had reached the terrifying transcendent grade. Duan Cheng didn't expect that Ningyu, a 6th grade alchemist, could actually refine a transcendent grade spirit congealing pill. That was a transcendent grade spirit congealing pill. Even if he was given an hour, he might not be able to refine it. How did Ningyu do it? Gulp. After a long while, Duan Cheng swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said, Ningyu, bring the medicinal pill over and let me check it. Swish. Ningyu didn't say much, flicked his wrist, and threw the spirit congealing pill to Duan Cheng. Taking the spirit congealing pill, Duan Cheng examined it carefully, hoping to find a flaw. But unfortunately, no matter how Duan Cheng examined it, he couldn't find any flaws. Even Duan Cheng felt that the transcendent grade spirit congealing pill refined by Ningyu was perfect, so perfect that he felt ashamed of his inferiority. Can we move on to the next item? Seeing Duan Cheng in a daze, Ningyu said, "Humph, I'm not in a good state today. I just refined the supreme grade spirit congealing pill. When I adjust my state to the peak, let's compete in alchemy again." Duan Cheng threw the spirit congealing pill to Ningyu and snorted coldly. The next item, fighting. The space here is too small. In my opinion, it's better to go to the courtyard to fight. With that, Duan Cheng lifted his legs and was about to leave. "No need." Ningyu waved his hand and said, "In my opinion, this place is perfect for fighting. Are you sure you want to fight here?" Duan Cheng couldn't believe what he heard and hesitated. One must know that he was a half-step creation realm cultivator, and his comprehensive strength was exceptionally heaven-defying. In the past, when his cultivation was still at the peak of Yin-Yang realm, he had killed a late-stage creation realm martial artist with his bare hands. Now that he had advanced to the half-step manifestation realm, he would probably be able to kill a martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm effortlessly. "Aren't you afraid of your friends getting hurt?" Duan Cheng pointed at Mu Feng and Hong Mo. Their strength is passable. They shouldn't be injured," Ningyu said with a faint smile. "That's what you said. Don't blame me if you accidentally hurt them later." As his cold voice fell, Duan Cheng rose from the ground and dashed toward Ningyu. In order to defeat Ningyu in one move, Duan Cheng even gathered the essence in his sea of consciousness on his wrist, bringing along a horrifying essence wind as he charged at Ningyu. This move, on the side, Mu Feng and the Red Devil's expressions changed. That was because Duan Cheng's move had indeed given them a great visual impact. Hong Mo was still all right. After all, he had fought with a half-step supreme being before, even though he was heavily injured. Mu Feng, on the other hand, was a little bitter. He even had the urge to bite the bullet and help Ningyu. The disciple actually has such heaven-defying strength. It seems that master is not simple. Ningyu took a deep breath and gathered the essence chi in his sea of consciousness on his wrist as well. With a backhand, his palm came into contact with Duan Cheng's palm. "Pa!" A crisp sound rang in the room. "Hua!" At this moment, everything seemed to have come to a standstill. Bang! Then, Duan Cheng's body flew backward like a rubber ball, only stopping when he hit the wall. Poochie! Dark red blood spurted out. Duan Cheng's eyes were wide open as he looked at Ningyu like a fool. He was speechless for a long time. I lost just like that. If it was said that losing to Ningyu in refining the spirit congealing pill was understandable, then there was nothing much to say now that he was defeated in martial arts. "I'm sorry, I was a little too heavy-handed." Sensing that Duan Cheng's aura had slightly weakened, Ningyu slightly knitted his brows and said, "But I had a sense of propriety. You only have a slight scratch. It's nothing serious." "Very good. You're much stronger than I imagined." Duan Cheng wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth as he slowly stood up from the ground and said coldly, "Follow me. I'll bring you to see Master." Creak. As he spoke, Duan Cheng directly left the room. Ningyu shrugged his shoulders and followed behind Duan Cheng. In fact, Ningyu had no other way. If he didn't suppress Duan Cheng, it would probably take a long time for him to see Duan Cheng's master. Although doing so would likely offend Duan Cheng, Ningyu really had no other way. Haha, heroes indeed come from the youth. Not simple, not simple. Just as Ningyu and Duan Cheng left the room, a faint laughter was heard. Looking over, they saw an old man standing in the courtyard. Sovereign Realm. At first sight of the old man, Ningyu's body trembled as these words appeared in his heart. The reason why the old man gave Ningyu such a feeling was because the old man seemed to have fused with the space as he stood in the courtyard, faintly discernible. Such a state wasn't something an ordinary half-step Sovereign Realm cultivator could achieve. He's definitely in the Sovereign Realm, but I wonder what grade of sovereign he is. Ningyu murmured. Russell. Just as Ningyu was pondering, Duan Cheng had already arrived beside the old man. Master, disciple has tried. Ningyu isn't a simple person. Duan Cheng said obediently. I've already said that Ningyu isn't a simple person, but you didn't believe me. Great. Now you know that there's always someone better out there, right? The old man said. Disciple understands. Disciple will definitely train harder in the future and strive to defeat Ningyu as soon as possible. Duan Cheng clenched his teeth. Senior, the main reason I'm here this time is to buy. Seeing the old man and Duan Cheng chatting idly, Ningyu couldn't help but interrupt. I know what you want, but before that, I want to test you. The old man waved his hand and interrupted Ningyu. I don't have much snake gall grass on me, and I'll have one less if I use it. If you're able to pass my test, then I can give you one for free. Ningyu's expression turned slightly ugly. First, his disciple came to test him and compete with him. Now, even his master wanted to test him. However, he had no choice but to lower his head. Ningyu could only nod and say, What does Senior want to test me on? I will definitely do my best to complete it. Actually, it's nothing much. I just have a pill formula here that lacks a medicinal ingredient and has 2 extra ones. The old man said, 1 extra medicinal ingredient and 2 missing medicinal ingredients. As long as you can name 2 of them, I'll give you the snake gall grass for free. Master, I only said 1 medicinal ingredient back then. Do you think Ningyu can name 2 medicinal ingredients? Duan Cheng couldn't help but ask. Whether he can say it or not, we'll only know after trying. The old man handed the pill formula to Ningyu. After taking the pill formula, Ningyu roughly glanced at the medicinal ingredient combination and couldn't help but frown. A 3rd-grade pill formula? Mu Feng and Hong and Mo moved closer to Ningyu. Mu Feng was an 8th-grade alchemist. At first glance, he could tell that this was a complete pill formula. Moreover, the medicinal ingredients recorded in the pill formula were very common. Chapter 856. Blood God Palace Expert Humph. Such a simple recipe, even an idiot wouldn't know it's the Qi Wave pill. Duan Cheng snorted coldly when he heard Mu Feng's words. Mu Feng was a little embarrassed and wanted to flare up, but after seeing the old man, he chose to endure. The old man was a supremacy realm martial artist, and it was somewhat unwise to have a conflict with Duan Cheng here. After all, not everyone was like Ningyu. Of course an idiot would know it's the Qi Wave pill. An idiot who is even more terrifying than an idiot can only name 1 herb. Mu Feng didn't respond, so Ningyu would definitely help him get back at him. Although the old man was a supremacy realm martial artist, no matter how one looked at it, he didn't want to kill Duan Cheng. Oh, could it be that you can name 3 herbs? Duan Cheng raised his brows and said disdainfully, If you can name 3 herbs, I'll recognize you as my big brother in the future. It's actually not bad to have an underling following me. Ningyu first returned the recipe to the old man, then said, There are many alchemists who know that the Qi Wave pill is a 3rd-grade medicinal pill, but there's a type of 8th-grade medicinal pill that is very similar to the Qi Wave pill. Duan Cheng's heart thumped, faintly worrying. Qi Yuan pill. Ningyu said in a clear voice, You just need to remove the dragon tiger grass, add in the heart essence and Romania beard, and this recipe will become the Qi Yuan pill's recipe. Whoosh! Every word of Ningyu fell on Duan Cheng's heart like thousands of boulders, pressing down on him until he couldn't breathe. Everything Ningyu said was true. Back then, Duan Cheng only named 1 herb and didn't even think of the rest. Duan Cheng was very puzzled. How did Ningyu, a native of the Xia Kingdom, do it? He even knew the Qi Yuan pill's recipe. If Duan Cheng knew that Ningyu was a peak 9th-grade alchemist in his previous life, he would probably faint on the spot. Haha, I promised you that as long as you can name 2 herbs, I will give you the snake gall grass for free. The old man smiled and flicked out a snake-shaped herb. It's the snake gall grass. Ningyu carefully caught the snake-shaped medicinal herb and put it into his storage ring. Thank you, Senior, for parting with me. Ningyu cupped his fists. What do you mean by giving up? Are you willing to admit defeat? The old man said, Ningyu, I see that you have a high attainment in alchemy. I wonder if you can introduce me to your master? Just now, you said that you want to accept Ningyu as your disciple. Now, you're asking if he has a master? If he has a master, Why would he acknowledge you as his master? Duan Chung mumbled to himself. My master? Ningyu was slightly startled and immediately said, My master likes to travel the world. Even I don't know where he is. I'm afraid I can't help you. I see. The old man pondered for a moment before continuing. Are you interested in learning alchemy from me? I'm afraid that's not good. Ningyu refused almost without thinking. However, before Ningyu could finish his words of rejection, he stopped abruptly. Boom! At the same time that Ningyu retreated, the door of the courtyard was smashed into pieces by a huge attack. Subsequently, a group of 3 martial artists slowly appeared in Ningyu's vision. Hiss! Sensing the terrifying aura emitted from the 3 martial artists, even though Ningyu was very calm, he could not help but gasp. The last 2 martial artists were still fine. Their cultivation was only at the peak of the manifestation realm. Although they could be ranked among the top among the martial artists at the peak of the manifestation realm, they were only at the peak of the manifestation realm. There was nothing to be afraid of. The old man leading them was more terrifying. The supreme realm. The old man's cultivation was the same as Duan Cheng's master. They were also at the supreme realm. As for which grade of supreme realm they were, Ningyu could not tell for the time being. Only when they performed their moves would Ningyu be able to tell. Donghe. The old man in the lead first glanced at Ningyu, then at Duan Cheng's master. He said in a low voice, I advise you to leave as soon as possible. Otherwise, if you are accidentally injured, it has nothing to do with me. Blood Puppet Patriarch, this is my territory. What are you doing here? Donghe's face was cold as he questioned. What am I doing here? The Blood Puppet Patriarch sneered and pointed at Ningyu. I came to the Great Xia Kingdom, this time, mainly to investigate the matter of Rong Wei's death. After my investigation, all the signs pointed to the fact that the one who killed Rong Wei was the martial artist beside you, Ningyu. If you want to kill Ningyu, you have to ask for my permission first, Donghe said coldly. You? Ha ha ha. Blood Puppet Patriarch laughed maniacally at the sky. He immediately berated. You think you can stop me? If I, Blood Puppet Patriarch, want to kill someone, no one can protect him. Fine, I already had some friction with you. Today, I will settle old and new grudges together. I will start with you first. Buzz buzz. Blood Puppet Patriarch was swift and decisive. As soon as he made his move, he immediately merged into the void. In the next moment, he appeared in front of Donghe and punched at Donghe's head. When supreme beings exchanged blows, every single punch contained a terrifying fluctuation of primordial qi. Ningyu, I will stop Blood Puppet Patriarch. You two go first. Donghe pushed Duan Chung away. He grabbed at the void with his right hand and fought with Blood Puppet Patriarch. Go. Where are you going? At this time, the 2 peak manifestation realm martial artists that Blood Puppet Patriarch brought locked their auras on Ningyu. One of the peak manifestation realm martial artists said sinisterly, If Blood Puppet Patriarch wants you dead by midnight, you won't live until midnight. What should we do? Mu Feng, who was beside Ningyu, asked solemnly. What else can we do? Kill. Ningyu flicked his wrist and instantly drew out the red devil sword. He immediately rushed at the peak manifestation realm martial artist in front of him. Since Blood Puppet Patriarch mentioned Rong Wei, Ningyu could basically be sure that Blood Puppet Patriarch was from Blood God Palace. Ningyu would not hold back when dealing with people from Blood God Palace. People from sects like Blood God Palace and Corpse Ean's sect did all kinds of evil and were extremely cruel. Even if he had not been besieged by Venerable Corpse Ean and Venerable Blood God in his previous life, Ningyu would have killed them on the spot. Hang Su, go and deal with the rest. Leave Ningyu to me. The peak manifestation realm martial artist who spoke just now saw Ningyu rushing toward him. He immediately waved his hand and signaled his companion to deal with the others. Subo, don't go overboard. Blood Puppet Patriarch said that he would keep Ningyu alive and refine him into a corpse puppet. The peak manifestation realm martial artist called Hang Su left these words and then turned into a shadow, rushing toward Duan Chung. Damn it! Duan Cheng's expression was very ugly. Although he was very strong and had killed a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist when he was at the peak yin-yang realm, Hang Su was infinitely close to the half-step supreme realm. In a sense, Hang Su's combat power was stronger than even a martial artist who had just advanced to the half-step supreme realm. Mu Feng, Red Devil, go and help Duan Sheng. Ningyu rushed towards Su Bo as he turned his head and said, Haha, a half-step manifestation, realm martial artist dares to be distracted when fighting with me? It seems that he is really tired of living. Chapter 857. Chapter 857. Killing one first, noisy. Ningyu did not want to waste time with Su Bo. He clenched his right fist and punched Su Bo's face. Ningyu would not hold back against a martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm like Su Bo. Not only did Ningyu wrap his Yuan Qi around his fist, but he also wrapped his soul power around his wrist. He wanted to give Su Bo a fatal blow. Child's play. Su Bo did not think much of Ningyu. He was worried that he would kill Ningyu with one move, so he only used 80% of his strength. Severely injure but not kill. That was what Su Bo was thinking. Bang! There was a saying that went, dreams are plentiful, but reality is cruel. When the two fists collided, Su Bo even had the urge to curse. The taste of blood in his throat and the numbness in his fist made Su Bo's face darken. Ningyu, no wonder you could make Blood Puppet Patriarch come in person. You are so strong, Su Bo said coldly. You only know now? It's too late. Ningyu held the red devil sword in his hand and rushed out again. I failed to subdue you with my previous move because I was careless. Now I will show you what true strength is. Su Bo grabbed the air, and a Yuan Qi light ball was caught in his hands. The next moment, Su Bo suddenly exerted force and threw the Yuan Qi light ball at Ningyu. Solitaire. Ningyu did not care about the Yuan Qi light ball. He injected the Yuan Qi in his spiritual sea into the red devil sword and slashed out with a sword wave. Chi. The Yuan Qi light ball was scattered when it came into contact with the sword wave. What? Su Bo's expression changed when he saw his Yuan Qi light ball being easily dispersed. He felt that it was unrealistic. One had to know that Su Bo's Yuan Qi light ball was his trump card. When Su Bo was in the late stage of the creation realm, he had used this move to easily kill a martial artist at the peak of the creation realm. Right now, Ningyu was only half a step into the manifestation realm. Why was this move useless? Haha, I'll return the same words to you. You dare to get distracted while fighting me? You must be tired of living. Ningyu smiled as he waved the red demon sword in his hand. Voila! In the air, several sword waves rose and attacked Su Bo in an overwhelming manner. Every single sword wave was extremely fast. Before Su Bo could even react, they had already arrived beside him, and all of them had blasted onto Su Bo's body. Whoosh! Although Su Bo was a martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm, he was helpless against so many sword waves. Without a doubt, the sword wave left several bloody marks on Su Bo's body. At this moment, Su Bo's entire body was bleeding profusely. He looked very pathetic. Only actions can prove how strong a person is. Empty words won't end well. Ningyu moved his feet and appeared in front of Su Bo in an instant. Remember this in your next life. Keep your eyes open. Not everyone is someone you can afford to offend. Poof! As he spoke, Ningyu stabbed the red demon sword in his hand. With a muffled sound, the flying sword stabbed into Su Bo's heart. Actually, Su Bo looked down at the blood-red flying sword at his heart. He had never expected that such a thing would happen to him. He was a martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm. Why couldn't he defeat a martial artist at the half-step into the manifestation realm? Thump! Before Su Bo could finish his words, his body fell backward, and he died on the spot. Swoosh! After killing Su Bo, Ningyu did not rest and immediately joined the other side of the battlefield. Although Duan Sheng, the red demon, and Mu Feng were very strong, Hang Su was even stronger. Duan Sheng and the rest could fight against ordinary martial artists at the peak of the manifestation realm and even kill them. However, against a heaven-defying powerhouse like Hang Su, they could only hold on bitterly. If they were the slightest bit careless, they could be killed by Hang Su. Ningyu. Originally, Mu Feng was still thinking about how to persevere. Now that he saw Ningyu join the battlefield, he was overjoyed. Mu Feng still believed in Ningyu's strength. You guys recuperate first. Leave Hang Su to me. Looking at Mu Feng, Duan Cheng, and the rest, Ningyu said in a deep voice. Mu Feng, Duan Cheng, and the rest had injuries of different degrees. Especially Mu Feng. He was the weakest and the most heavily injured. Duan Cheng and the Red Demon were slightly better, but not by much. If such a high-intensity battle continued, they could only last for 3 minutes at most. Ningyu, Hang Su is infinitely close to becoming a half-step supremacy. All right, let's recuperate first. Hearing Ningyu's words, Duan Cheng hurriedly said. However, Duan Cheng's words came to an abrupt halt, because Duan Cheng saw Su Bo lying on the ground on the other side dead. In such a short period of time, Ningyu actually killed Su Bo. From this, it could be seen that Ningyu's strength was definitely not weak. Only a fool would not make use of such a good opportunity. Duan Cheng immediately retreated from the battlefield and began to recuperate. Mu Feng and the Red Demon also flew to the other side and began to recuperate. Ningyu, you killed Su Bo? At first, Hang Su did not know why Ningyu would join the battle. However, when he saw Su Bo lying on the ground not far away, his eyes suddenly widened and revealed a look of extreme disbelief. Su Bo's strength was not weak. If Ningyu could even kill Su Bo, it seemed that his strength was not weak. Why do the people from the Blood God Palace talk so much nonsense? The truth is right in front of you. Don't you know how to look? Hang Su did not attack immediately, so Ningyu was also happy to be idle. Coincidentally, he could use this period of time to recuperate. When he killed Su Bo just now, he had consumed a lot of energy, so the primordial chi in his sea of consciousness had not recovered to its peak state. If he fought with Hang Su now, there was no guarantee that something unexpected would happen. Look, of course I will look. Hang Su was not a fledgling, so he instantly guessed what Ningyu was thinking. With a low roar, Hang Su stomped on the ground, and his body instantly dashed out. Whoosh! Hang Su's speed was very fast. In the blink of an eye, he arrived beside Ningyu and punched at Ningyu's heart. Ningyu, don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you killed Su Bo. To tell you the truth, I have endured for a long time in the Blood God Palace. My strength is twice as strong as Su Bo's. You are twice as strong as Su Bo, but what does that have to do with me? Ningyu spread his hands, and then his figure flashed, choosing to avoid the attack. Whoosh! Whoosh! In midair, Ningyu and Hang Su played hide-and-seek. A moment ago, Ningyu appeared here, and the next moment, he tore the void and appeared on the other side. Moreover, Ningyu took advantage of Hang Su's carelessness to sneak up on him a few times. Enough! After about 10 minutes, Hang Su finally could not take it anymore and shouted, Ningyu, do you only know how to run? If you run again, I will let the Blood Puppet Patriarch personally take action. Buzz! Hang Su's words were very lethal. Chapter 858. Chapter 858. Defeat You. The Blood Puppet Ancestor is a Grade 1 Human Supreme Martial Artist. Dong, he is also a Grade 1 Human Supreme Martial Artist. Ningyu turned his head to look at the two people fighting in the void and said calmly, Do you think the Blood Puppet Ancestor can deal with me when two Grade 1 Human Supreme Martial Artists are fighting? Humph! The Blood Puppet Ancestor's strength is not something you can figure out. To tell you the truth, Hang Su snorted. Don't tell me the truth. What truth can the people from the Blood God Palace say? Ningyu interrupted Hang Su and said, I can kill Su Bo, so I can kill you too. Haha, a person who doesn't dare to fight me head-on actually said that he can kill me. Don't you feel a little ashamed? Hang Su smiled sinisterly. How could that be? Ashamed is more suitable to describe you. Ningyu said calmly, a warrior at the peak of the Fate Realm against a warrior at the half-step to the Fate Realm, and he couldn't even touch his clothes in 10 minutes. If this gets out, I'm afraid I'll become a laughing stock. You're courting death. Hang Su originally wanted to endure a little longer and wait for an opportunity to probe Ning Yu's weakness. However, after hearing Ning Yu's sarcastic words, he could no longer endure it. He decided to let Ning Yu know how powerful he was. Buzz! Hang Su's hands tore the void, and his body rushed in like a bolt of lightning. Without any warning, Hang Su disappeared just like that. The moment Hang Su disappeared, Ning Yu closed his eyes and released his perception. 3 meters to the left. With Ning Yu's keen perception, he easily found Hang Su's position. 5 meters to the right. However, Hang Su did not appear in the void immediately. Instead, he kept jumping, hoping to confuse them. Unfortunately, every time Hang Su changed his position, he was locked on by Ning Yu. Hong Mo, Mu Feng, Duan Cheng, attack with all your strength, 10 meters to my right. Suddenly, Ning Yu shouted. Boom! Hearing this, Mu Feng and the others did not dare to be negligent. They hurriedly attacked the space 10 meters to the right of Ning Yu. A deafening sound resounded in the area. Soon after, a miserable figure was blasted out of the void. Hang Su. The figure that was blasted out of the void was none other than Hang Su. Hang Su's expression was ugly to the extreme. How did you find me? Hang Su couldn't understand how the concealment technique he was so proud of couldn't hide from Ning Yu. Hee, your concealment technique still needs to be improved. Seeing Hang Su's expression, Ning Yu easily guessed what he was thinking. Spells like concealment were basically useless against Ning Yu. Unless it was a supreme being martial artist who used a concealment technique, Ning Yu could easily locate anyone else who used a concealment technique. All right, it's about time. I can send you to the afterlife. Ning Yu would not miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Although Hang Su didn't suffer any fatal injuries from Mu Feng and the other sneak attack, his strength had definitely declined. Ning Yu might be a little afraid of Hang Su at his peak, but Ning Yu is completely fearless in his current state. Kill him. In the next instant, Ning Yu wielded the red demon sword and instantly appeared in front of Hang Su, fighting with him. Due to the decline in Hang Su's strength, he was firmly at a disadvantage in a head-on clash with Ning Yu. Damn it, I have to think of a way. Hang Su wasn't an idiot like Su Bo, who knew that Ning Yu was strong but still wanted to show off. He knew his position very well. At his peak, he was stronger than Ning Yu, but now he was weaker than Ning Yu. Mu Feng, do you think Ning Yu can kill Hang Su? Duan Cheng asked solemnly as he stared at the battlefield in midair. Actually, I have no way to judge. Mu Feng hesitated and said, Ning Yu is very strong, and even Su Bo was easily killed by him. However, Hang Su's strength is even stronger than Su Bo. So, Mu Feng didn't continue, but his meaning was self-evident. Don't worry. Mu Feng and Duan Cheng didn't know Ning Yu's strength, but the Red Demon was very clear about it. In the Red Demon's opinion, Ning Yu could definitely defeat Hang Su. As for whether or not he could kill Hang Su, it would depend on the battle. The reason why the Red Demon was so sure was that Ning Yu had yet to display his strongest strength. He was the spiritual body of the Red Demon Sword. When he was outside the Red Demon Sword, Ning Yu's strength would drop by at least 20% while he was wielding the Red Demon Sword. If Ning Yu could steadily gain the upper hand in this state, one could imagine that as long as he fused with the Red Demon Sword, Ning Yu would definitely be able to kill Hang Su easily. It would be a lie to say that I'm not worried. Duan Cheng muttered to himself. In fact, it was no wonder that Duan Cheng was concerned about whether Ning Yu could win or not. This was because Ning Yu's victory directly concerned his life and death. His master, Dong He, was currently fighting with a blood puppet ancestor in the void. As for when he would return, it was still unknown. Under this premise, Ning Yu had become his hope of survival. Ha ha ha, Ning Yu, although you can suppress me, killing me is harder than ascending to the heavens. Hang Su laughed maniacally as he fought with Ning Yu. Give me another 10 minutes, and I will be able to recover to my peak state. When that time comes, it will be your death. 10 minutes? The corner of Ning Yu's mouth curled up. When that time comes, I will have already killed you to the point where not even a scrap will be left. Oomph. The ignorant are fearless. You think that you can suppress the entire world just by suppressing me a little? Too ignorant, too young, too young. Hang Su snorted coldly. Too young. Ningyu raised his eyebrows. Then, a violent soul force appeared on his palm. The strength of a 6th grade soul force? Let me tell you with my strength. This level of soul force is useless against me. Hang Su laughed coldly. Then, a thick wave of primal chi appeared on his right hand. With a backhand strike, he struck at Ningyu. Since you are seeking death, I will fulfill your wish. Ningyu's tone was very calm. There was no joy or sorrow as he pushed his palm forward. Life and death palm. However, when Ningyu's palm came into contact with Hang Su's, he shouted softly, "Pa!" A crisp sound resounded in the area. Ah! Then, Hang Su instinctively let out a hysterical roar. Uft! Hang Su spat out a mouthful of blood. The aura that was originally at the peak of the manifestation realm dropped to the early stage of the manifestation realm within a second. Moreover, it was still dropping rapidly. Crack! After his aura dropped to the freezing point, Hang Su's knees bent slightly, and he knelt on the ground. Why was that palm of yours so powerful? Hang Su gritted his teeth as he endured the pain coming from his palm. There's no harm in telling you. I used the life and death palm, a soul attack spell, Ningyu said calmly. Chapter 859. Blood God Thunderbolt Bullet Swish. Swish, swish, swish. Seeing that Hang Su was injured, Mu Feng, Duan Cheng, and Hong Mo landed beside Ningyu. Let me kill him. Duan Cheng's tone was cold and furious. Wait. Ningyu waved his hand, gesturing for Duan Cheng to calm down. Why not kill him as soon as possible? Hong Mo and Mu Feng were puzzled. In the past, Ningyu had always been cruel to his enemies. He would kill if he could, without holding back. Why didn't he kill Hang Su from the Blood God Palace right away? He's still useful. Ningyu kicked Hang Su to wake him up. You'll die a horrible death. After waking up, Hang Su didn't change and cursed. Let me go if there's a book. Let's fight again. What's the point of fighting a loser? Ningyu shrugged, then turned to Hong Mo and said, Stay here and watch him. I'll go watch the battle between the blood puppet ancestor and the rest. Hong Mo, I've left a trace of soul force in Hang Su's body. Watch my eyes. Ningyu sent a spiritual message to the Red Devil for the last few words. After all, it wouldn't be good if too many people knew about it. Ningyu, are you sure you want to watch the battle between the blood puppet ancestor and Senior Donghe? Seeing that Ningyu was about to leave, Mu Feng quickly said, They're both first-grade mortal sovereigns. The shockwaves from their battle could hurt. As he spoke, Mu Feng's voice gradually weakened. The shockwaves from the battle between first-grade mortal sovereigns could easily kill a half-step to manifestation realm cultivator. However, Ningyu wasn't an ordinary half-step to manifestation realm cultivator. The shockwaves from the battle between first-grade mortal sovereigns probably wouldn't pose any threat to Ningyu. You guys wait here and watch Hang Su. Don't let him escape no matter what. As Ningyu flew out, he left these words behind. Bang! As soon as Ningyu left, Duan Cheng kicked Hang Su and said coldly, Aren't you showing off? Aren't you very strong? Get up and hit me if you can. Seeing Duan Cheng like this, Hong Mo and Mu Feng chose to turn their heads to the other side. You're not much better than others if you show off when they're caught. Whoosh! At the same time, Ningyu had already arrived at the battlefield where Blood Puppet Patriarch and Dong he were fighting. Because Dong he was afraid that their battle would cause panic, he chose the 9 heavens as the battlefield. Although it was said to be above the 9 heavens, it was actually just high up in the sky. The level above the 9 heavens was beyond their reach. Boom! Blood Puppet Ancestor forced Dong he back with one move. He said in a low voice, Dong he, I didn't expect your strength to grow so quickly. It seems like I have to kill you today. Otherwise, after a while, even I won't be able to do anything to you. You want to kill me? Why don't you pee and look at yourself in the mirror? Dong He's tone was calm as he said, We're both first-grade human supremes, and my soul power is much stronger than yours. What do you have to kill me? Is it because of your eloquence? In the face of absolute strength, all schemes are useless. Blood Puppet Ancestor took out a black ball-shaped object from his chest and said coldly, "I'll let you have a taste of it." As he spoke, Blood Puppet Ancestor suddenly shook his wrist and threw the black ball-shaped object. Not good. Looking at the ball-shaped object that was speeding towards him, Dong He's expression changed drastically as he hurriedly retreated. Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb. What Blood Puppet Ancestor threw out was something specially developed by Blood Divine Palace. Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb. The so-called Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb was divided into several grades. The lowest grade of Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb could only be used against Yin-Yang Realm warriors, while the slightly higher grade could be used against Creation Realm warriors. As for the Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb that Blood Puppet Ancestor took out, it was the highest grade of Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb. The power of its self-destruction could even injure a supreme realm warrior. Ha ha ha, Dong He, enjoy the power of the Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb. I'll go torture Ningyu first. After throwing out the Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb, Blood Puppet Ancestor laughed and flew away from the area. Blood Puppet Ancestor, do you really want to torture me that much? However, before Blood Puppet Ancestor could fly far, Ningyu appeared in front of Dong He and said calmly, "Of course I want to torture you. Of course I want to torture you. You killed Roma?" Blood Puppet Ancestor answered subconsciously. However, Blood Puppet Ancestor quickly reacted and hurriedly turned to look. "Ningyu? How come you're completely fine?" Blood Puppet Ancestor's eyes widened in surprise. From Blood Puppet Ancestor's point of view, Hang Su and Su Bo were enough to capture Ningyu. Blood Puppet Ancestor had even informed Hang Su and the others in advance, asking them to entertain Ningyu first. However, what he discovered now made him feel a little confused. "Ningyu, get out of the way." Blood Puppet Ancestor was shocked. Ningyu's sudden appearance shocked Dong He even more. One had to know that the Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb was flying towards them at an extremely shocking speed. "Pa!" Ningyu waved at Dong He without turning his head. Then he stretched out his right hand and firmly grabbed the Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb in his hand. Swoosh! At this moment, time seemed to stand still. Dong He's eyes widened as an extremely terrified expression appeared on his face. That was a Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb. It would explode upon contact. How could Ningyu dare to grab it with his hand? No, it didn't self-destruct. Suddenly, Dong He seemed to think of something and said in surprise, "Ningyu, how did you do it?" The Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb was said to explode upon contact. Why did it not self-destruct when Ningyu was holding it in his hand? Could it be that because Blood Puppet Ancestor was in a hurry, he did not open the Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb and threw it out? A series of questions rose in Dong He's mind, causing him to shift his gaze to Blood Puppet Ancestor. At this moment, Blood Puppet Ancestor was even more confused than Dong He. Gulp! Blood Puppet Ancestor even swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said in disbelief, "You can actually control the Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb." Blood Puppet Ancestor was 100% sure that he had opened the Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb. The current situation made him suspect that the Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb he had thrown out was a fake. Phew! Ningyu let out a long sigh after sending a bit of soul power into the Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb. At that moment, Ningyu faintly discovered the flaw of the Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb. Therefore, Ningyu rushed out without saying a word. To be honest, Ningyu was taking a huge risk by doing this. If he failed, the consequences would be unimaginable. Fortunately, at the critical moment, Ningyu controlled the Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb and neutralized the terrifying power that was about to explode. Ningyu carefully put the Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb into his storage ring and said indifferently, "Blood Puppet Ancestor, the Blood Divine Thunderbolt Bomb was taken by me. Su Bo was also killed by me, and even Hang Su is under my control. You are now a commander without an army. What do you have to fight against us? Senior Dong, let's go down quickly, lest Blood Puppet Ancestor becomes desperate and attacks Duan Sheng and the others." Ningyu glanced at Blood Puppet Ancestor then said to Dong He, "Go." Chapter 860. Explosion. Damn it. When the Blood God Thunderbolt Bomb was snatched away by Ningyu, the Blood Puppet Patriarch was furious. Now that Ningyu and Dong he had left at the same time, he was even more furious. After cursing, the Blood Puppet Patriarch tore through the void with both hands, turning into an afterimage and disappearing. Buzz buzz. As the Blood Puppet Patriarch left a step after Ningyu and the others, he landed in the courtyard a step later. Let Hang Su go. In the courtyard, the Blood Puppet Patriarch saw that Hang Su's aura was weak and even his legs were broken, and immediately shouted angrily, "Let him go." Ningyu played with the Blood God Thunderbolt Bomb in his hand, pointed at Hang Su, and said, "A warrior at the peak of the creation realm, if put in some special place, can even sell for a sky-high price. If you really want to save him, just give me a few million King Great Essence crystals." Hearing Ningyu's words, even Dong, he could not hold back and laughed out loud. The Blood Puppet Patriarch was originally very angry, and now seeing the reaction of Dong He and the others, he clenched his fists and said fiercely, "Tens of millions of King Great Essence crystals. Why don't you go rob them? I want to rob them, but someone won't give me the chance." The first half of Ningyu's sentence was said very calmly, but the second half took a turn, and he said gloomily, "I'll give you a minute to think about it. After a minute, if I still don't see King Great Essence crystals, then Hang Su will go accompany Su Bo." The Blood Puppet Patriarch's face was gloomy, and he was having an intense internal struggle. One had to know that tens of millions of King Great Essence crystals were all he had. Moreover, even if he wanted to take them out, there was no way. After all, he could not bring all his belongings with him when he went out. Right now, he only had a few million King Great Essence crystals on him. "Ningyu, I only have 3 million King Great Essence crystals on me." The Blood Puppet Patriarch took out a storage bag and said, 3 million King Great Essence crystals in exchange for Hang Su's life. How about that? 3 million King Great Essence crystals? Ningyu raised his eyebrows as if he was thinking. In fact, Ningyu did not plan to get the Royal Grade Origin Crystal from the Blood Skull Ancestor at all. The reason he had extorted the Blood Skull Ancestor was to prepare for what would happen next. Blood Puppet Patriarch's attitude towards Hang Su also confirmed Ningyu's guess. Hang Su's status in the Blood God Palace was much higher than Su Bo's. Otherwise, with Blood Skull Patriarch's personality, he would not care about Hang Su's life. After pondering for a moment, Ningyu said in a clear voice, one hand over the crystals, the other hand over the people. "All right," Blood Puppet Patriarch responded. With a flick of his wrist, he tossed the storage bag towards Ningyu. Hong Fiend. Ningyu did not disappoint Blood Skull Ancestor. He winked at Red Devil, his meaning clear. The Red Fiend kicked Hang Su's back, sending him flying towards Blood Puppet Patriarch. "Pa!" At the same time, Ningyu grabbed the storage bag and shouted, "Let's go! Go!" Hearing Ningyu's words and looking at Ningyu's face, Duan Chung could not understand. "I asked you to go, so go. Why are you talking so much nonsense?" Dong he knew that Ningyu would not speak without thinking. He grabbed Duan Chung and chased after Ningyu. Hang Su. Oh no. On the other side, Blood Puppet Patriarch caught Hang Su. Just as he was about to speak, his expression changed drastically, and he hurriedly tried to push Hang Su away. However, Blood Puppet Patriarch was obviously half a beat too slow. Rumble. In the blink of an eye, Hang Su's body expanded rapidly and then exploded with a loud bang. Hang Su was a peak manifestation realm martial artist. The aftermath of his explosion was extremely terrifying. Blood Puppet Patriarch was in the center of the explosion. Although he was a Grade 1 Supreme Martial Artist, he did not gain any advantage. In fact, Blood Puppet Patriarch could only burn his blood essence to increase his defense, hoping to block the aftermath of Hang Su's explosion. What's going on? It seems like someone self-destructed. If I'm not wrong, the martial artist who self-destructed is at least a manifestation realm martial artist. I'm afraid you're wrong. The power of a manifestation, realm martial artist's self-destruction can't be so weak. That's true. Could it be that a kind-hearted person stopped him? On the streets of the capital, pedestrians stopped in their tracks. However, the terrifying aftermath of Hang Su's self-destruction did not spread in all directions. Therefore, it did not cause too much panic in the capital. At the same time, in a certain alley, Duan Chung could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. No matter how stupid Duan Chung was, he could guess what had happened. Self-destruction. Hang Su, a peak manifestation realm martial artist, was forced to self-destruct. Although he did not know why Hang Su self-destructed, Duan Chung knew very well that he would die if he stayed in the courtyard. Beside Duan Chung, Ningyu frowned and asked, "Senior Dong, your strength is about the same as Blood Puppet Patriarch's. After you blocked the self-destruction of a peak manifestation realm martial artist, how much strength do you have left?" "If it were me, I would probably have about half of my overall strength left," Dong, he explained. "Half of my strength, huh? Can we kill our way back and kill Blood Puppet Patriarch once and for all?" Ningyu continued. Shaking his head, "Dong," he said, "that's impossible. Based on my understanding of Blood Puppet Patriarch, he will definitely use his unique secret technique to escape." Senior Dong, after this serious injury, how long will it take for Blood Puppet Patriarch to recover? This was what Ningyu was concerned about. This time, they had seriously injured Blood Puppet Patriarch. There was no way Blood Puppet Patriarch would not seek revenge. What Ningyu could do was to increase his strength as quickly as possible before Blood Puppet Patriarch recovered to his peak. At the very least, he had to raise his cultivation base to the manifestation realm before Blood Puppet Patriarch recovered to his peak. Otherwise, when Blood Puppet Patriarch returned, only death awaited him. "At most 10 days to half a month, at least 7 days, Dong," he replied. "Senior Dong, I have something I need your help with." After pondering for a moment, Ningyu said, "Tonight, I plan to refine the life-giving pill. I would like to ask for your guidance." "I can't really call it guidance. With the strength of my soul power, refining the life-giving pill alone is more difficult." Dong, he waved his hand and said, "I see that Dean Mu's soul power has reached the mid-stage of grade 8. Why don't we refine it together? It will increase the success rate. There's no time to lose. Let's hurry to Danwu College and try to refine the life-giving pill as soon as possible." Ningyu and the others did not linger here. They tore the void and flew toward Danwu College. Sha. After entering Danwu College, they rushed to the pill cavern without stopping. Ningyu and the others had just arrived at the entrance of the pill cavern when the Dark Emperor rushed out. Seeing Ningyu, the Dark Emperor was stunned at first. Then, he said anxiously, "Lu Wei's mother's condition is critical. If she can't take the life-giving pill within an hour, she might die from it. Also, Lu Wei has already woken up and is accompanying her mother now." "What?" Ningyu's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly pushed the Dark Emperor away and entered the pill cavern. Dong, he and the others did not hesitate. They followed closely behind Ningyu and entered the pill cavern. Ningyu was worried about Lu Wei's safety. It was impossible to refine the life-giving pill within an hour. One could imagine that once Lu Wei's mother died, Lu Wei's emotions would definitely fluctuate greatly. Chapter 861. Young Master in the depths of the Pill Cave, in a slightly empty area. Lu Wei, Lu Durong, Dan Xingzi, and the others surrounded a stone bed. Lying on the bed was Lu Wei's mother. At this time, Lu Wei's emotions were a little unstable. She was lying on the stone bed with a depressed look on her face. Whoosh! Ningyu! Seeing Ningyu flying over, Lu Wei quickly got up and looked at Ningyu with anticipation. "Lu Wei, don't worry. I'll start refining the life creation pill now." Ningyu released his perception, probing Lu Wei's mother on the stone bed. "I'll be able to refine the revival good fortune pill soon." After comforting Lu Wei a little, Ningyu turned to the other side and discussed with Dong He. Through observation, Ningyu roughly determined that the Dark Emperor was right. Lu Wei's mother could only live for an hour at most. If he didn't take the good fortune pill within an hour, then only death awaited him. Ningyu, refining the revival pill in an hour is harder than ascending to the heavens. Ningyu knew the situation of Lu Wei's mother. So did Dong He. Not to mention 1 hour. Even if he were to spend 3 or 10 hours, he might not be able to forge it. That's what I'm worried about. Ningyu gritted his teeth and said, "What I mean is for Senior to stay here and temporarily suppress Annie's internal injuries. I'll try to refine the good fortune pill. Although I can suppress her internal injuries, the good fortune pill isn't that easy to refine. With your peak 6th grade soul force, it's basically impossible for you to refine it." Although he admired Ningyu's courage, Dong He was still not optimistic about Ningyu. "Let's try everything we can. There's no other way," Ningyu said in a low voice. "I can't suppress the injuries in Auntie's body. Only if Senior takes action, personally, will she have a chance of survival." "All right." Since Ningyu strongly requested it, Dong He no longer insisted. He took out a scroll from his pocket and threw it to Ningyu. "When you're refining the life creation pill, you can open this scroll. It can increase the strength of your soul power to the peak of level 7 in a short time." "Thank you, Senior." Ningyu took the scroll, took the herbs needed to refine the revival good fortune pill, and flew to the other side. This time, only Ningyu was refining the life creation pill. Everyone else, including the Dark Emperor and the Red Devil, stayed where they were. After all, Ningyu was very worried about the injuries of Lu Wei's mother. If Dong He could only suppress it for 10 hours, and he couldn't refine the life creation pill, wouldn't he die? Therefore, Ningyu left the Dark Emperor and the others behind, and went to the deepest part of the pill cave alone. After confirming that it was safe, Ningyu took out the pill furnace that he carried around with him. The last time Ningyu fought with the half-step supreme martial artist Dan Puppet, there were very few Dan Puppets left in the pill cave. Even if there were 1 or 2 that escaped, they were Dan Puppets with low cultivation and didn't dare to show themselves. Under such circumstances, Ningyu naturally wouldn't worry about being disturbed. Although the life creation pill was only a level 8 elixir, it was one of the most difficult to refine. If the strength of Ningyu's soul force was at the peak of level 7 or level 8, with the experience from his previous life, he might have a 90% chance of refining the life creation pill. But now, even though Ningyu had the experience from his previous life, with the strength of his peak level 6 soul force, he only had less than a 10% chance of refining the life creation pill. With such a low probability, Ningyu definitely had to adjust his mental state to the best. Phew! About 10 minutes later, Ningyu slowly exhaled a turbid breath. Swoosh! With a flick of his wrist, he threw the pill furnace into the air. His right hand stuck to the bottom of the pill furnace, and wisps of vitality flowed into the pill furnace through his palm. The refining of the life creation pill was different from other elixirs. It required sufficient vitality, and the pill would explode if there was a slight carelessness. Therefore, Ningyu had to store a large amount of vitality in the pill furnace. Half an hour later, when 1/3 of the vitality in his body had been transferred into the pill furnace, Ningyu grabbed a medicinal herb with his left hand and threw it into the pill furnace. Chi-chi! As soon as the medicinal herb entered the pill furnace, it emitted a sizzling sound and was quickly refined. Refining the life creation pill required a lot of medicinal herbs, about a few hundred types. The first 100 medicinal herbs were not too difficult to refine, but it was a little complicated. This was also the reason why the life creation pill could be refined by many people. Everyone refined the medicinal herbs separately, and then the same person threw them into the pill furnace. Among the 100 medicinal herbs, the first few dozen were refined very quickly. Ningyu spent about 10 minutes to completely refine them. As for the last few dozen medicinal herbs, it took Ningyu an hour to completely refine them. Rise! After refining 100 medicinal herbs, Ningyu's soul force surged, and he took out 100 jade bottles from his storage ring, storing them separately. Because he needed to refine some elixirs for a long time, Ningyu brought a lot of jade bottles with him. Fortunately, the consumption isn't too big. Turning his head to look at the remaining 200 medicinal herbs, Ningyu muttered, I reckon that I will only need to use the scroll when I refine the last 100 medicinal herbs. If he used the scroll for the first 200 medicinal herbs, then even if he could completely refine all the medicinal herbs, Ningyu would not be able to refine the life creation pill. Good steel should be used on the blade. Swish! After resting for a few minutes, Ningyu began to refine the medicinal herbs again. The middle 100 medicinal herbs were much more difficult to refine. Ningyu used a full 3 hours to completely refine them. Gotcha! After refining the middle 100 medicinal herbs, Ningyu took out a royal grade essence crystal and began to absorb it on the spot. Although the life creation pill was difficult to refine, it could be stopped in the process of refining medicinal herbs to replenish one's vitality. Only the matching process could not be stopped, otherwise all the previous efforts would be wasted. Have you investigated it? While Ningyu was concentrating on refining the life creation pill, in an unknown space, 2 martial artists were conversing. These 2 martial artists' cultivations were not low. One was a half-step supremacy, while the other was a grade 1 human supremacy. Among them, the grade 1 human supremacy said, was Kuimo killed in the Great Xia Kingdom's Elixir Cavern? Replying to young master, Kuimo was killed when the Great Xia Kingdom was expanding their territory in the Elixir Cavern. The half-step supremacy realm martial artist replied, Good, very good. A small place like the Great Xia Kingdom actually had someone who could kill a half-step supremacy, Kuimo. Indeed, he is not simple. The corner of the human supremacy's lips curled up. Go pick 10 half-step supremacy elixir puppets, and let them take a set of puppet battle armor from the treasury. Young master, you mean? We're going to attack the Great Xia Kingdom. The half-step supremacy asked. We won't go so far as to attack, but Kuimo was killed in the Great Xia Kingdom. Chapter 862. Phew! Who? In the depths of the Elixir Cavern, Ningyu let out a long sigh as he looked at the 300 jade bottles placed around the Elixir Cavern. Although the last 100 herbs were extremely difficult to refine, with the scroll provided by Dong He, Ningyu managed to refine all of them without any mishaps. After refining 300 medicinal herbs, Ningyu didn't have the slightest bit of excitement. This was because Ningyu knew very well that this was just the beginning. The most important part of the life creation pill was the proportion of herbs. If he was not careful, he would lose everything. In the best-case scenario, the pill would explode. In the worst-case scenario, he would be affected. There's still half an hour before the scroll's effect ends. I need to use this half an hour to settle the proportion of the 300 bottles of medicinal liquid. Ningyu's eyes turned solemn. Without any hesitation, he picked up a jade bottle, removed 1/3 of the medicinal liquid, and poured the rest into the elixir cavern. Swoosh! Following that, Ningyu used his peak rank, 7 soul strength, to repeat the same actions. He picked up the jade bottle, removed the medicinal liquid, and directed the rest into the elixir cavern. Although half an hour was very tight, Ningyu did not dare to be careless. He remained cautious and focused. 10 minutes passed. Ningyu completed the proportion of 100 bottles of medicinal liquid. 20 minutes passed. Ningyu completed the proportion of 200 bottles of medicinal liquid. The moment the 30th minute arrived, "Rise!" Ningyu bellowed. Immediately, the vitality in his consciousness poured out and entered the elixir cavern without reservation. At the same time, Ningyu's peak rank, 6 soul strength, entered the elixir cavern and began to compress the medicinal liquid. Sizzle. As the medicinal liquid was compressed, it made sizzling sounds. Damn it, my soul strength is not strong enough. Suddenly, when the medicinal liquid was compressed to 1/10, Ningyu's expression changed and he cursed. The life creation pill was the best among the rank 8 pills. With Ningyu's peak rank, 6 soul strength, he naturally could not compress the medicinal liquid. If he couldn't strengthen his soul power in time, this batch of life-giving pills would most likely end in failure. What should I do? Ningyu's face was gloomy and uncertain. His eyeballs rolled as he tried to think of a countermeasure. In his current situation, Ningyu could only hold on for 10 minutes at most. After 10 minutes, if he couldn't increase the strength of his soul force to the peak of the 7th grade, then he could only declare the concoction a failure. Rumble. Just as Ningyu was thinking of countermeasures, the space in front of him suddenly split open and a cultivator appeared. "You are Danny." Looking at the cultivator who suddenly appeared, Ningyu was stunned at first. Then, he revealed a shocked expression. Because Ningyu discovered that the martial artist in front of him was not a human, but a pill puppet. Human. When the half-step supremacy Dan Chi saw Ningyu, he was also slightly stunned. However, the half-step supremacy Dan Chi did not stay stunned for long. He said sinisterly, "Looks like my luck is not bad. I've just arrived at the Great Xia Kingdom, and I've already met a human. Although his cultivation is only at the half-step manifestation realm, it's better than nothing. I'll devour and refine you first, then return to inform the young master." As soon as he finished speaking, the half-step supremacy Dan Chi stomped his feet on the ground and charged out. "Damn it! If I had known earlier, I would have asked the Red Devil to follow me." Ningyu cursed in his heart. He immediately wielded the Red Devil sword and slashed out a sword wave. The instant the sword wave slashed out, Ningyu fled at high speed. Without the Red Devil sword's power was reduced by 20 to 30%. In addition, Ningyu had expended too much of his essence chi. Therefore, he basically had no chance of winning against the half-step supremacy Dan Chi. Want to leave? How can it be so easy? Seeing that Ningyu wanted to leave, the half-step supremacy Dan Chi casually repelled the sword wave in midair and chased after Ningyu. Bang! Ningyu had only taken a dozen steps when the half-step supremacy Dan Chi caught up to him. In order to ensure that the cauldron wouldn't shatter, Ningyu could only use his body to withstand the fist of the half-step supremacy Dan Chi. There was no doubt about the result. A crisp sound rang out. Ningyu's body was sent flying several feet away. He spat out a mouthful of fresh blood, and his aura rapidly weakened. "Ha! I really don't understand why Ku Mo would die in the Great Xia Kingdom." With a wave of his hand, the half-step supremacy Dan Chi did not continue attacking. Instead, he laughed maniacally and said, "Looks like the 10 puppet warriors that young master asked me to choose are unnecessary. Not good." The half-step supremacy Dan Chi's maniacal laughter had yet to end when he revealed a look of horror and hurriedly retreated. However, the half-step supremacy Dan Chi's retreating speed was clearly slower by half a beat. Swish! A small branch suddenly shot out from Ningyu's body. It drew a beautiful arc in midair and appeared behind the half-step supremacy. Dan Chi, the flower bud on the branch, emitted a terrifying, devouring power. The half-step supremacy Dan Chi let out a hysterical scream before he was completely devoured by the flower bud. Wong Wong. After devouring the half-step supremacy Dan Chi, the flower bud trembled slightly in midair before regaining its calmness. There were still 6 petals on the flower bud, and the number did not decrease. From afar, Ningyu's mouth was slightly agape when he saw how powerful the flower bud was. Swish! However, the moment Ningyu opened his mouth, a pillar of energy shot out from the flower bud. Before Ningyu could react, it directly entered Ningyu's consciousness. Ningyu did not dare to be slow. He immediately sat down cross-legged and circulated the spirit transformation technique to absorb the energy in his consciousness. Swish! However, before Ningyu could finish absorbing the energy in his consciousness, another pillar of light shot out from the flower bud. Pure soul force. Feeling the terrifying soul force undulations from the pillar of light, Ningyu was ecstatic. He hurriedly suppressed the energy in his consciousness and focused on devouring the pure soul force. Ningyu's soul force was at 6th grade. If he devoured and refined all the soul force, his soul force would at least reach early stage 7th grade. Furthermore, after reaching early stage 7th grade, there would still be a lot of pure soul force left. Once his soul force was raised to early stage 7th grade, coupled with the remaining pure soul force, Ning Yu's success rate in refining the regeneration pill would increase to 50%. Bam! 5 minutes later, a dull sound was heard. Early stage 7th grade. At this moment, Ning Yu raised his soul force to early stage 7th grade. As soon as his soul force reached early stage 7th grade, Ning Yu took out the alchemy cauldron. His soul force entered the cauldron and began to compress the medicinal liquid. At the same time, to increase the success rate, Ning Yu threw the remaining pure soul force into the alchemy cauldron. Combining it with his early stage 7th grade soul force, he carefully compressed the medicinal liquid. Ning Yu was very careful in the process of compressing the medicinal liquid. He did not even dare to wipe off the sweat on his forehead. Drip, drip. Bean-sized beads of sweat rolled down Ning Yu's cheeks. Rise. After another 2 hours, Ning Yu suddenly opened his eyes. He slapped the alchemy cauldron with both hands, and the lid flew up. Chapter 863. Chapter 863. Ouyang Luan returned Shua. Ning Yu stomped on the ground and rushed out. Pa! He raised his right hand and firmly grabbed the elixir in his hand. Good fortune elixir. Mid-grade good fortune elixir. Looking at the mid-grade good fortune elixir in his hand, Ning Yu revealed a look of disbelief. Originally, Ning Yu thought that he could only refine a low-grade good fortune elixir. He did not expect to refine a mid-grade good fortune elixir at the last moment. A mid-grade good fortune elixir should be able to cure Lu Wei's mother's injuries. Ning Yu did not dare to stay here any longer. He hurriedly put away the elixir furnace and rushed to Lu Wei's side. Puchi. At the same time, in the area where Lu Wei was, Dong He, Mu Feng, and the others spurted out a mouthful of blood. Among them, Dong He's cultivation was the highest, so his injuries were the heaviest. Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, Mu Feng asked in a low voice, Senior Dong, is there no other way? In the current situation, we can only pray that Ning Yu can rush back with a good fortune elixir in 10 minutes. Otherwise, she will die. In order not to worry Lu Wei, Dong He sent a soul message to Mu Feng. Although Dong He did not know that Lu Wei had an extreming body, he could guess something from Ning Yu's reaction. 10 minutes? Mu Feng frowned. His heart was filled with despair. If Ning Yu could refine the good fortune elixir, he would have done it long ago. He would not have waited until now. 10 minutes might be the last time Lu Wei's mother could live in this world. This is a conservative estimate. Dong He did not want to hurt Mu Feng, but he had to tell him the truth. If the situation continues to worsen, she will most likely die in 3 minutes. Hearing this, Mu Feng sucked in a breath of cold air. Ning Yu might not even be able to rush back in 10 minutes, let alone 3. At this moment, Mu Feng and the others shook their heads, their faces filled with disappointment. Don't worry, I will do my best to suppress her internal injuries. Dong He pondered for a moment before he gritted his teeth and said, if I risk my life, I should be able to suppress it for another 2 minutes. Sigh. 2 minutes is practically useless, Mu Feng said with a sigh. Shio. Suddenly, a figure tore through the void and gradually appeared in everyone's field of vision. Ning Yu. Lu Wei, who was beside the stone bed, hurriedly stood up and exclaimed in surprise. Senior Dong, this is a mid-grade good fortune pill. Please help Annie consume it. Seeing the joy on Lu Wei's face, Ning Yu hurriedly threw the life creation pill to Dong He and said loudly, the rest of you, leave with me. Before Annie recovers, no one is allowed to disturb Senior Dong. Pa! After saying this solemn sentence, Ning Yu grabbed Lu Wei's right arm and flew into the distance. Ning Yu, will my mother definitely recover? With her arm grabbed by Ning Yu, Lu Wei calmed down and asked, don't worry, with the life creation pill and Senior Dong's strength, Annie will definitely recover to her peak state. In order not to worry Lu Wei, Ning Yu said, you should be able to see Auntie early tomorrow morning. Well, thank you, Lu Wei said. It's fine. I promise to help you refine the life creation pill. I can't go back on my word. Ningyu waved his hand and said with a faint smile, rest well later. I will bring you to see Annie early tomorrow morning. How unkind. You have a wife and forgot about us. Behind Ningyu, the Dark Emperor pursed his lips and said sourly, Red Skin, tell me honestly, how many royal grade origin crystals did Ningyu extort from that blood puppet patriarch? Recently, I lack royal grade origin crystals. I can ask for a few million to make do. Hearing the Dark Emperor's words, the Red Devil's face darkened. Insatiable greed. This was the best way to describe the Dark Emperor. Damn it. Ningyu only extorted a total of 3 million royal grade origin crystals. If I give them all to you, what should we do? You should know that you are at the early stage creation realm, while I am only at the peak of yin-yang realm. Redskin, you can't fight with me. Seeing that the Red Devil was silent, the Dark Emperor continued. You went out with Ningyu and must have eaten a lot of meat. I have to drink some of the soup, right? At the side, Duan Cheng's mouth twitched a few times. Ate a lot of meat? He was almost blasted to smithereens by Hang Su. After fighting with the blood puppet patriarch and the other freaks, Duan Cheng finally understood that his strength was the weakest among this group of people. Perhaps he was just a little stronger than that white puppy on the Dark Emperor's shoulder. Woof. However, just as this thought appeared in Duan Cheng's mind, Furball turned around and barked at him. Pissed. For some reason, Duan Cheng almost lost his footing and fell to the ground when Furball barked like that. If the Red Devil's face was filled with black lines just now, then Duan Cheng's entire body was filled with black lines now. The white puppy that he originally thought to be the weakest actually had such heaven-defying strength. Just a gaze and a roar made him feel uncomfortable all over, as if he was seen through. What kind of freaks are the people and dogs around Ningyu? Duan Cheng secretly made up his mind that he would never provoke Ningyu in the future no matter what. He did not know that the people around Ningyu were strong, and he could still provoke Ningyu. However, after knowing that everyone around Ningyu was a powerhouse, he would still foolishly provoke Ningyu. That was not having a backbone, but idiocy. All right, how did Ningyu refine the life creation pill? And it's a middle grade one. Duan Cheng frowned slightly and fell into deep thought. He could not understand how Ningyu's peak rank, 6 soul strength, could refine a middle-grade life creation pill. Could it be that Ningyu is pretending to be weak? His soul strength is rank 8? Duan Cheng seemed to have thought of something, but he could not grasp it. Subsequently, Duan Cheng shook his head and threw these thoughts to the back of his mind. He quickly followed Ningyu and the rest out of the pill cavern. After leaving the pill cavern, Ningyu did not go too far away. Instead, he found a room closest to the pill cavern and stayed there. As for Mu Feng, he quickly left the forbidden area because there were still many things he needed to solve in Danwu College. Creak. In the room, Ningyu sat upright on a chair. The worry on his face had lessened a little. As long as the life creation pill could cure Lu Wei's mother, Lu Wei's emotions would not be affected too much, and the extreme body would not break out prematurely. I have to find a way to completely solve the hidden danger of the extreme body. Ningyu looked at Lu Wei on the other side and said with a slightly solemn expression, Bang! However, just as Ningyu finished his sentence, the door was suddenly pushed open before his but could even warm up. Dean Mu? What's going on? Ningyu stood up from the chair and asked hurriedly. Ningyu, Ouyang Luan is back. He said he has something urgent to see you. Chapter 864. The situation is critical. Ouyang Luan? Hearing this, Ningyu was slightly startled at first, and then his expression changed drastically. Back when he left the capital, he gave Ouyang Luan the task of going to Tianxian City to protect Ningyu. Now that Ouyang Luan had returned to the capital, didn't that mean that the Ning family was in danger? Dean Mu, bring me to Ouyang Luan. Thinking of this, Ningyu's face turned completely gloomy. He lifted his leg and left the room. As Ningyu left, the Dark Emperor and Furball naturally followed closely behind. As for Lu Wei, after pondering for a moment, she chose to follow. After all, her mother would only recover the next morning. Rather than waiting here now, she might as well follow Ningyu to take a look. It's over, it's over, it's over, it's really over this time. In the conference hall of Danwu College, Ouyang Luan was pacing back and forth in panic. If this trip to Tianxian City could be described with one word, it would be a failure. If there is only one word to describe it, it would be a complete failure. He was a middle-stage creation realm martial artist. The other party's late-stage, Yin-Yang realm martial artist actually defeated him in one move. Moreover, it was the kind of defeat without any suspense. Ouyang Luan still had a lingering fear when he recalled what had happened in Tianxian City. Bang! Right at this moment, Ningyu kicked open the door to the assembly hall and said in a low voice, "Ouyang Luan, what the hell is going on?" Ningyu. Seeing Ningyu's gloomy expression, Ouyang Luan's heart skipped a beat, but he still answered honestly, "The Ning family in Tianxian City has been controlled by someone. Tell me exactly what happened. If you leave out any detail, you should know the consequences," Ningyu said. "When I went to Tianxian City a few days ago, the Ning family hadn't been controlled yet." Ouyang Luan didn't dare to be negligent and hurriedly explained, "I even helped the Ning family's grand elder, Ning Tang, as well as the Ning family's ancestor, Ning He, to improve their cultivations, allowing them to all advance to the Origin Dan realm. I also helped the Ning family's peerless geniuses of the younger generation, Ning Xian, Ning Hu, and Ning Exine, to improve their cultivations, allowing them to all advance to the true martial realm. However, good times don't last. 3 days ago, a mysterious force suddenly entered the Ning family. I will definitely resist. However, the mysterious faction is very powerful. One of them, a late-stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist, defeated me in one move." "A late-stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist defeated you in one move?" Hearing this, Ningyu slightly frowned and asked, "Do you know the identity of the mysterious force? Is it the Blood God Palace or the Corpse Sect?" "It's not the Blood God Palace or the Corpse Sect." Ouyang Luan shook his head and said, "If it's the Corpse Sect or the Blood God Palace, they will most likely start a massacre in Tianxian City. Even I won't be spared." "That makes sense," Mu Feng, who was next to him, said. "Also, I can clearly feel that the mysterious force seems to be looking for something in the Ning family." Ouyang Luan continued. "Looking for something in the Ning family?" Ningyu slightly frowned and had a faint guess in his heart. "It's not the Blood God Palace, not the Corpse Sect, and they are looking for something in Ningyu, so they didn't start a massacre. All the signs indicated that the mysterious force is very likely to be from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. In other words, they're from the Ice Domain, the same force as Du Feng and Wan Quan. You've provoked me." Ningyu clenched his fists, and his face was very ugly. Whether it's the Supreme Nine Purities Temple or the people from the Ice Domain, since they have provoked him, then Ningyu must take care of it. This matter needs to be considered at length. I can't be reckless. Ningyu wanted to return to the Ning family as soon as possible, but he knew that there were still many things to do in the capital. It would not be good to leave without finishing them. First of all, Ningyu learned from the half-step supremacy Dan Shi that he met in the Pill Cave that he mobilized 10 puppet warriors. Once 10 puppet warriors of the half-step supremacy realm descended on the Great Xia Kingdom, it would be a disaster for the Great Xia Kingdom. Although the Dan puppet, whose cultivation hadn't reached the supremacy realm, couldn't leave the Pill Cave, Ningyu had also heard from the Dan puppet about the young master. As the young master, he probably had a way to let the puppet warriors leave the Pill Cave. In addition to the threat from Dan Shi, there was also the threat from the blood puppet ancestor. There was even the threat from the Corpse Sect's venerable corpse dragon. All kinds of things appeared in Ningyu's mind at the same time, causing Ningyu's head to explode with pain. Ouyang Luan, go back to the Imperial Palace and make some preparations. We will set off for Tianxian City tomorrow." Hearing this, Ouyang Luan's body trembled. His figure flickered and he left the conference hall. After Ouyang Luan left, Ningyu waved his hand and said, "Dean Mu, you go ahead. I want to be alone. Then, all right. Mu Feng originally wanted to say something, but after seeing Ning Yu's expression, he could only leave the conference hall. Ning Yu didn't speak, and the Dark Emperor and the others didn't want to disturb him, so they found a place to rest. As for Lu Wei, she wanted to comfort Ning Yu several times, but she resisted. Drip, drip. Time passed by minute. In the blink of an eye, a night passed. When the first ray of sunlight shone into the conference hall, Ning Yu stood up and said in a deep voice, "To the Pill Cavern." Hearing that they were going to the Pill Cavern, Lu Wei was very excited and hurriedly followed behind Ning Yu. Phew! At the same time, inside the Pill Cavern, looking at the recovered woman on the stone bed, He wiped the sweat off his forehead and let out a long sigh. Luckily, I managed to save her. After a night of treatment and the magical effects of the elixir of rebirth, he managed to pull Lu Wei's mother back from the brink of death. Russell. At this moment, a few figures flew over from afar. Senior Dong, thank you. Seeing that the woman on the stone bed had woken up, Ning Yu hurriedly thanked Dong He. It's nothing, Dong He said with a smile. Senior Dong, let's talk over here. Seeing that Lu Wei was sprawled on the bed, Ning Yu gave Hong Mo a look before flying straight into the depths of the Pill Cavern. Although Ning Yu's actions puzzled Dong He still followed behind Ning Yu and disappeared. As for Hong Mo, he naturally knew what Ning Yu meant. He could not let Lu Wei get too emotional. If Lu Wei got too emotional, the consequences would be dire. Ning Yu, why did you call me over? Dong He asked curiously in the depths of the Pill Cavern. Dong He did not understand why Ning Yu called him over. Generally speaking, if there was anything, he could just talk it over there, and there was no need for him to come here. Senior Dong, I'm sure you've heard of pill puppets. Ning Yu went straight to the point. Many pill puppets have appeared in this Pill Cavern. In fact, I've even killed a half-step supremacy pill puppet some time ago. Chapter 865. Mystic Moon Jade Pendant Hiss. Dong He gasped. Dong He sucked in a breath of cold air. As a senior member of the Alchemy Union and a first-grade human supreme, Dong He had naturally heard of the pill puppet. Not only had he heard of the Pill Cavern, but he had also fought with it before. The pill puppet that He had fought with was a half-step supreme martial artist puppet. However, he was only a half-step supreme martial artist at that time. He had to use a lot of effort to kill that puppet warrior. Now that he had advanced to a first-grade human supreme, he could easily kill the puppet warrior if he encountered again. The only thing that shocked he was the so-called Young Master. Among the pill puppets, those who could be called Young Master were at least first-grade human supreme. Senior Dong, I would like you to oversee the Danwu College in this Pill Cavern during this period. Ning Yu voiced out his thoughts and said, once the puppet warriors attack, I hope you can help us. Leave this matter to me. He said without thinking. In a few days, a few of my old friends will come to the capital. At that time, with a few of us guarding here together, I believe that even the young master of the Elixir Palace won't be able to gain any advantage. Also, Ning Yu continued, other than the threat from the pill puppet, there's also the blood puppet ancestor. Don't worry, the blood puppet ancestor won't be able to cause too much trouble. He waved his hand. Leave these two matters to me. All right, I'll leave it to you, Senior. Ning Yu had wanted to mention the venerable corpse dragon, but seeing He's confident look, he felt that it was better not to mention it. Anyway, he had already destroyed the corpses. It would be difficult for the venerable corpse dragon to find him through the dilapidated hall. Oh, right. What do you want to do? He thought about it. He felt that Ning Yu would not speak without thinking. Since he was begging him so seriously, there was most likely a reason. I'll be leaving the capital later and heading to Tianxin City. Ning Yu didn't want to hide it from He at all. He said honestly, and it's not good. However, before Ning Yu could finish his sentence, his expression changed drastically, and he hurriedly flew in the direction of Lu Wei. Just now, the Red Fiend sent back a message saying that Lu Wei's emotions had changed slightly. Lu Wei had an extreme body, and her mood swings were extremely unpredictable. If she was not careful, she would completely explode. The consequences of the eruption of the extreme body were unimaginable. Therefore, Ningyu had no time to bid farewell to Dong He and directly flew out. What's going on? Before Ningyu arrived, his voice came first. It's fine now. Everything has returned to normal. The Red Fiend came forward and said hurriedly, Tell me the truth. Ningyu transmitted his voice to the Red Fiend. Just now, Lu Wei's mother coughed twice, and her face was even a little pale. Fortunately, Dan Xingzi pointed out in time that it was a normal reaction. Otherwise, Lu Wei, the Red Fiend, didn't finish the last few words, but the meaning was self-evident. No, I have to bring Lu Wei away. After a moment of silence, Ningyu made this decision. The regeneration pill wasn't simple. In the next few days, Lu Wei's mother would cough, her face would turn pale, and she would even suffocate temporarily. If Lu Wei saw all of this, what would happen? Lu Wei's small heart definitely wouldn't be able to take it. Therefore, Ningyu decided to bring Lu Wei with him so that it would be convenient for him to use a secret technique to suppress Lu Wei when she exploded. Cough, cough. This is Ningyu, right? Jeaner told me everything. This time, it's all thanks to you. On the stone bed, Li Qiaoyun coughed twice and said to Ningyu, If not for the regeneration pill that you refined, I might not have been able to wake up. Also, this should be Senior Dong. As she spoke, Li Qiaoyun shifted her gaze to Dong He, who was beside Ningyu, and said, You've done me a great favor. What great favor? It's nothing. Dong He interrupted Li Qiaoyun and said. The reason why Dong He interrupted Li Qiaoyun's words was obvious. Don't talk to me about great favor. I didn't treat you for benefits. Lu Wei, I'm going to Tianxin City later. Why don't you come with me? Seeing that Li Qiaoyun might have misunderstood, Ningyu quickly changed the topic and said, No, I want to stay in the capital to accompany my mother. Without a doubt, Lu Wei rejected Ningyu. Jeaner, I've recovered. You can follow Ningyu to Tianxin City, Li Qiaoyun said. Mother, but I want to spend more time with you. Lu Wei laid on the stone bed and said, Why do you want to accompany me? Aren't I all better now? Li Qiaoyun continued, I want to be alone. All of you can leave. Ningyu didn't expect Li Qiaoyun to help him so much. Could it be that Li Qiaoyun knew Lu Wei's true identity? Since your mother said so, she naturally has her reasons. At this moment, Lu Durong said in a deep voice, Don't tell me you don't even listen to your mother. All right. Lu Wei felt a little upset. After all, this was the first time Lu Durong got angry at her. Ningyu, come with me. I have something to tell you. Lu Durong glanced at Ningyu and then walked straight into the distance. Ningyu followed behind Lu Durong. After stopping, Lu Durong handed Ningyu a purple jade pendant and said, 18 years ago, Jeaner appeared in my room out of nowhere. This jade pendant was with Jeaner at that time. This jade pendant. Receiving the blue jade pendant, Ningyu's body trembled, because Ningyu knew what this jade pendant was. It was the Mystic Moon Jade Pendant. The Mystic Moon Jade Pendant had a very big effect, which was to suppress the extreming body and prevent it from exploding. Of course, there were a total of 2 Mystic Moon Jade Pendants. One Mystic Moon Jade Pendant couldn't completely suppress the extreming body and could only suppress it for a dozen years. Although Ningyu didn't know, when Lu Durong removed the Mystic Moon Jade Pendant from Lu Wei, Ningyu was sure that it wasn't too long ago. Otherwise, Lu Wei would have already exploded. You might need to investigate Jeaner's background. However, I hope that Jeaner can live a peaceful life in the future. Lu Durong sighed and said, I will take good care of Lu Wei. Although Ningyu didn't mention it, he felt a little helpless in his heart. An extreming body wants to live a peaceful life. It's harder than ascending to the heavens. You guys leave. I will persuade Jeaner to leave with you as soon as possible. Lu Durong continued. If that's the case, thank you, Uncle Lu. Ningyu bowed deeply towards Lu Durong before tearing through the void and leaving the pill cavern. Before leaving, Ningyu had already informed the Dark Emperor and the others through spiritual transmission. In fact, Ningyu even informed Dong He. The Dark Emperor and the Red Devils wouldn't choose to stay in the capital. They tore through the void and disappeared behind Ningyu. Master, seeing the Dark Emperor and the Red Devils leave, Duan Cheng bit his lips and said hesitantly, "Go. You can learn a lot by following Ningyu." Donnie knew what Duan Cheng was thinking. He didn't urge him to stay. After all, everyone had their own judgment. Chapter 866. Too Young. Russell. Donwu College's conference hall. Many people had already gathered in the conference hall. Among them, the Black Widow, the Black and White Heroes, Old Ancestor Jiumo, and Mu Feng sat on one side. Ningyu, the Dark Emperor, the Red Devil, and Duan Cheng sat on the other side. If there's anything you need during this trip to Tianxian City, feel free to let me know. I'll do my best to satisfy you. Mu Feng said after a moment of silence. Ningyu had done so many things for Donwu College. If Ningyu needed anything, Mu Feng would definitely agree to it without hesitation. If there's a need, there's nothing. We'll set off immediately after Lu Wei arrives. After saying this, Ningyu thought for a moment and continued, "The only thing I need to do is to arrange a quiet place for Pavilion Master Lu and the others to stay and ensure that no one will disturb them. It's a small matter. I'll arrange it as soon as possible," Mu Feng said. Swish! At this moment, a figure streaked across the void and appeared in front of the conference hall. It was none other than Lu Wei. Lu Wei's eyes were slightly red, and she looked pitiful. "Dinmu, we'll take our leave for now." Seeing Lu Wei coming over, Ningyu stood up and bid farewell to Mu Feng before leaving the conference hall. Behind Ningyu, the Dark Emperor, Furball, the Red Devil, Duan Cheng, Ouyang and even the Silver-Winged Dragon and the Twin-Horned Beast followed closely behind. Initially, Ningyu wanted the Silver-Winged Dragon and the Twin-Horned Beast to stay in the capital. However, since they were unwilling, Ningyu could only give up. "Dinmu, did something happen in Tianxian City? Why did Ningyu mobilize so many people?" Looking at Ningyu's departing figure, Ancestor Jiumo asked doubtfully. "Moreover, I don't understand why Ningyu brought Lu Wei along. After all, Lu Wei's cultivation is very low." A mysterious force came to Tianxian City and took control of the Ning family, Mu Feng explained. "As for why Ningyu brought Lu Wei with him, I don't know either." "All right." Forefather Jiumo sighed and fell silent. Xiao. In a dense forest somewhere, a group of martial artists was advancing quickly. "I really don't understand. There's such a good path to take. Why do you have to take this godforsaken place?" Among the martial artists, a large black dog complained in the human language. "Don't talk too much." Beside the large black dog, a thin martial artist said in a low voice, "Do you think I don't want to walk the open road? Do you really have to come to this place?" "Isn't that so?" The Dark Emperor muttered. "Screw you." The thin martial artist was Ningyu. He kicked the Dark Emperor's buttocks and said angrily, "When we left the capital, there were at least 10 groups of people following us. If we didn't take a detour, do you think we could get rid of them?" Duan Cheng and Ouyang were shocked when they heard Ningyu's words. Along the way, they were puzzled as to why Ningyu had to take a detour. Now, it seemed that it was because their perception was weak and they couldn't detect the people following them. "If we can't get rid of them, then we won't. With our strength, even if the people following us are peak manifestation realm martial artists, we can still kill them," the Dark Emperor said proudly as if he was not afraid of anything. "Is that so?" However, as soon as the Dark Emperor's arrogant words fell, a faint voice came from the void. Crack! Then, the void cracked, and a group of 4 martial artists appeared. Hiss! Seeing the 4 martial artists that suddenly appeared, Ouyang and Duan Cheng's expressions changed, and they gasped. It wasn't that Ouyang and Duan Cheng were timid, but the cultivation of the 4 martial artists in front of them was simply too high. Half-step supremacy realm. 4 half-step supremacy realm martial artists. Although Duan Cheng knew that Ningyu was very powerful, and he had also seen Ningyu kill Su Bo, who was infinitely close to the half-step supreme being realm, and capture Hang Su alive, the cultivator in front of him was a half-step supreme being. Moreover, they were 4 half-step supremacies. How could Ningyu fight against such a lineup? "I still haven't gotten rid of you." Ningyu's expression was slightly solemn as he said in a deep voice, "Speak. Why are you following us?" "Why?" One of the half-step supremacy realm martial artists with squinted eyes smirked and said, "Su Shun, Hole, you should have heard of them. I know, you're from the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion." Ningyu instantly reacted. Su Shun and Hole were peerless geniuses from the 7th and 8th branches of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion. Moreover, they had both died at his hands. It was just that Ningyu was a little puzzled. At that time, he had repeatedly confirmed that Su Shun and Hole hadn't spread the news. How did these Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion geniuses know that he was the one who did it? Curious? Seeing Ningyu's expression, the squinted martial artist gloomily said, "The influence of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion is not something you can imagine. Let me tell you the truth. In the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion, the 7th, 8th, and 9th branches have already issued a Nine Cauldrons hunting order. As long as a genius of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion runs into you, they will kill you without mercy. Since that's the case, I have nothing else to say." Ningyu slowly spat out a breath of turbid air. He lightly said, "Then let's fight." Wong wong. As Ningyu's words fell, the entire area seemed to come to a standstill. The atmosphere was stifling, as if a great battle was about to break out at any moment. "Ningyu, they're all half-step supremes. Do you really want to clash with them?" Duan Cheng was a little afraid. He wanted to ask if there was any chance of turnaround. "I killed the half-step supremes of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's 7th, 8th, and 9th branches. Do you think there's any chance of a turnaround?" Ningyu said as he glanced at Duan Cheng. "All right, it looks like we can only fight." Duan Cheng helplessly said, "Wrong." The squinted martial artist stretched out his right hand and coldly said, "In truth, there is still a chance of a turnaround. It just depends on whether or not you are willing to cooperate." "What's the matching method?" Ningyu asked while adjusting his state. "The Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion has always taken the responsibility of recruiting geniuses. As long as you relax your mind and let me control you, then the others can live." The squinted martial artist wanted to sow dissension and disintegrate the relationship between Ningyu and Duan Cheng from the inside. "Haha, this move of yours has no effect on me." Ningyu faintly smiled and said, "Don't take everyone for fools. The reason you didn't attack immediately was because you were afraid of me. You were afraid that I had the strength to kill all of you. Otherwise, you wouldn't have sent 4 half-step supreme beings to encircle and kill me. You know very well that since I was able to kill Su Shun, Hole, and Gu Yuan, I have the ability to kill any one of you." After listening to Ningyu's story, Duan Cheng felt a little ashamed. The squinted martial artist's attempt to sow dissension had indeed had some effect. If it weren't for Ningyu promptly mentioning the squinted martial artist scheme, Duan Cheng might have even opened his mouth to persuade Ningyu. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.